Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
So one thing that's gonna need to happen, unfortunately, is when Mason talks to make points, he's going to need to be a little closer to your mic.
You can scoot closer. You got space here. We got space
It
here.
was mostly
We're all
just
friends here.
I am sore and tired.
That is, however, that is so much better than when you were further back.
I would imagine.
My mic's really like that.
I
Like, it's
cannot
very, very
express
sticky.
how much better this is. So let me go to that button, and then we go here,
God, those buttons are depressing.
and then we go here.
They have been depressing for a long time.
I need to watch Ocean Code just to grab screenshots from this week again.
I have not watched since the first episode.
Banger episode.
Yeah, Mason, you and I should probably just fix that at some point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You should.
In addition to the other thing we've been doing, which we'll talk about in a minute, we'll try to keep things quick. Okay, links are going out right now.
What?
Did I send one in this chat? Did I send one in this chat? I did. Did I post it in this?
Are we supposed to be muted or no?
You're not. You know,
Okay.
sometimes I take the time to do it. Other times I just don't have the consistency for it.
I was just wondering.
We're just
because
not.
we aren't muted.
Yeah, we're not on screen though, which is intentional. Let me go and.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So yeah, this should be good. We should be posted everywhere.
I think I take a look at my my power ranking because boy did I now remember.
With 2 eyes.
Okay, so let's.
I remember like one choice, and that was it.
Let's go. I was gonna say let's hop over here. Yeah. Hello, everybody. We are live, as everybody is either tweeting out that we are live, or posting in places that we are live, or just on their phones. You might notice that there are 3 of us on webcam, and
there are only 3 of us.
One of us is doubled up, and this time he doesn't have his girlfriend with him. He has his boyfriend. Welcome, Mason. We're glad to have you. True.
Like how you and Xavier hopped on the video picture of me and the cat today. They're like, cute. That's so cute. Also, the cat's there. That's nice.
Right. Welcome to week 2. I remembered that I'm not calling the episodes. I'm calling them weeks because sometimes we skip weeks. We skip episodes, so it's better just to call it weeks.
True.
We're here to talk about anime, but before that, real quick rundown of things we've been up to. I'm gonna make this real simple for me. I watched one episode of a show that's not on the podcast this series, but did start airing. I don't remember the name of it, so I'll talk about it more next week. Mason and I started watching Vinland Saga again. We're not quite at the point where I was at when I stopped, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless still. Thanks, Wit Studio. Read the newest chapter of Chainsaw Man. Still good. I am on chapter
338, you said?
I just finished 388.
Oh, 387.
I just finished 388 of One Piece, which means I am in Annie's lobby. Spoilers if you're not caught up on One Piece or at this point in the manga. I just hit Gear 2. The way they explain it so far is that Luffy's just tapped into the 6 path method by watching them fight, which is hysterical. I also love that the way they explain that particular technique he's taken it's the tennis sidestep thing where you jump in place, but you do it a lot really fast. And that's how you get faster. That is silly, and I love it. That's how you shave. It's really weird to be reading it on Viz, and to have Usopp introduce himself as Sniper King, and for my brain not to immediately make the connection. Oh, that's when he starts going by Soga King, because translation. but I now understand that is the case. Something I have learned is that Pell is alive. Why, Oda? Let people die at the beginning of One Piece. I've been given Bellamy. I get that. Maybe. Who knows? He might still be alive somehow. I wouldn't be too surprised. I know people are going to die in this manga. I may be spoiled on one of those just because when you are young and you are at all interested in One Piece, there is a certain name that if you search up at a certain time point, it is always followed by another word. It is unfortunate. When I get to it, we'll talk about it. I somehow knew nothing about Water 7 going into it. That makes that experience phenomenal.
Yes.
Is it CP? Is that the correct abbreviation?
CP9.
CP9? That whole group's incredible.
Yes.
Knowing Kaku and Lucci's names, but not knowing anything about them, makes
That's
it
why
even
Kaku-
better. It's so good.
Kaku, the guy that everyone thought was going to join the Straw Hats at the start of the arc, and then went, oh no.
Yup.
Also, so that's the one thing, right? I don't know Water 7, but I know Frankie's name, so going into Water 7, I'm like, okay, how you gonna do this? And at first, he looks nothing like the depictions I'm used to seeing, so I'm even more confused.
Correct.
Free time skip Frankie.
That's Frank.
It's not
The-
there for very long.
The one thing that made me laugh really hard recently that I was reading was I got to the question quarter where a fan goes, why does Frankie drink cola? And Oda goes, because it's good.
Based.
Based
There was a
Oda,
question corner
never
recently
stops.
Where like someone was asking Oda about like his motivation, how he stays motivated for this. He's like, I really want to create a good end. You know, there was times in writing One Piece where like I didn't have as much motivation and stuff. Like for example, in Marineford, but everyone still loved that part, so that gave me a lot of confidence. And it's like Oda was half-assing like one of the best arcs in all the entire series,
And
and just like
it's
everyone's,
also-
like, eating that shit up for
it-
breakfast.
It's also very weird to be reading it and to know the names of arcs. And so to hear you guys talk about arcs, my brain for some odd reason put both Water 7 and Eni's Lobby much further down the line. And getting them right here, and then not now knowing in my brain where Impel Down falls is fucking with me, because I don't know if it's immediately after, don't tell me, I don't know if it's immediately after Eni's Lobby, which would make
That's the
sense
thing.
directional
I can't
wise,
tell you,
or if it's
because I don't
post time skip, which I think it's post time skip, in which case, how do we get here? Mason, I do have a question for you. You said since I was going to be heading into Water 7, I would soon be getting to one of your favorite cover stories. Have I hit it yet, and or have I passed it?
So you haven't hit it yet, but
You're close.
So now I can mention it, and it's Enel's cover story, Enaru's cover story.
Yeah, I know. I know it
Oh,
exists.
yeah.
It's
This
the
one's
it's
great.
the one
The worst
after
one.
the one I'm currently on. I think because I'm currently on the
Worst
I'm
cover
current-
story.
I'm currently on the Baroque Works one.
I can't wait for that to be.
I
the
love
trend
the
of
Baroque
movies.
Works one.
I also just
Baroque
got
Works one is great.
yeah. I cover story wise, I've just gotten through Ace looking for Blackbeard, aka give the Navy some milk, the cover story, and then I had Gedetsu's. Is that his name? Funky eye.
Gedetsu.
Yeah, fucking guy who won't open his eyes.
That's
His cover story, which neat. Will there be any repercussions to the fact that he exists? Who knows? Which is again how I figured out Pell's alive. Really strange way to learn that. And now I'm on the Baroque Works one, which I'm really liking so far.
Like Baroque work.
Outside of that, I think that's everything for me.
Hi, resident Oshinoko fanboy here. Go watch Oshinoko. Go read Oshinoko. It's also very good.
Reading
Reading
go,
it is
go
just like-
Oshinoko.
Reading it, and watching it are lining up so awkwardly perfectly that I don't love it. But I like at the same time it's like, I know you're doing this on purpose, so fuck you. But just some of the characterizations that we see in this like line up just so one-to-one with what's happening, but like in the exact opposite direction sometimes, and it's just wild to me. Manga's good. The episode this week was excellent. I'm caught up with Chainsaw Man 2. I'd say I've read JJK, but there hasn't been a chapter since 3 weeks. So that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
It's probably because he released that side story collection, which I will read if it becomes available for me to read at any point in time. Why'd you put that character on the cover? Fuck you.
But yeah, read Chainsaw Man this week. It's good. Outside of that, haven't done much. Just got a lot of work to do this week, and then I am going to ASEN next weekend, so that'll be fun.
Hey, Michael, you go before Mason, just because. Do it.
So,
Looks like you guys are in the same
there's
room.
a funny game that came out, I think a few weeks ago. I don't actually know when it
No
came out,
funny
called
game,
Omega
whatever.
Strikers.
Switch game.
Very good game. You should go play it.
Breath of the Wild 2 comes out tomorrow.
It has a
very
it has a
good.
it has a trigger. Isn't it in 2 days? I thought it was the 12th.
Well, it's tomorrow in 10 days. 10 minutes.
It's not tomorrow.
Here's the Kingdom is 12th. Yeah. But yeah, Omega Strikers is very good. Yes, the intro cinematic done by Studio Trigger.
Fucking
But that's pretty cool. That's essentially all I've done other than just the usual. I downloaded Subnautica. I
Ooh,
played a whole hour and a half of that, and I've gotten nowhere because that game is a very slow progression.
I'm not fucking with that game ever.
Same.
I also
The-
won't because I was traumatized
know
by
that-
the
I
eel
just
in
know
Super
there are
Mario
cool
64 as a child, so I'm good.
You see, I'm absolutely terrified of everything, but I also know there's some like really cool set pieces.
That's
And
great.
also, it's a survival game that has a mode that lets you turn off the you need to constantly care about hunger and water because that's
Ooh.
really cringe and annoying.
Yeah, I agree. What a good game.
That is a
Because
good
yeah,
game.
I just want to play Subnautica to explore and die.
I boot up Skyrim randomly once, and it was like, "Hey, would you like to add the mode where you
Nope.
could add hunger and stuff?" And I'm like,
Nope.
"No."
Yeah,
Fuck
but
you.
There's
I don't-
a reason
I don't
only have
have-
2 hours in Raft and haven't turned the game back on. I spent an hour and a half of that just cooking potatoes and distilling water. Because you need to constantly be distilling water, and it just gets tiring.
You know
You're
how
never
you
allowed to go explore.
you know how you can tell Skyrim wasn't made for that mode? It's inventory space.
I mean, your infinite inventory, you just become heavy.
Yeah, which makes 80% of the game unplayable in a way. Mason, what have you been up to?
A lot of stuff. I just got back from arguably the best concert I've ever been to. It was Jakub Zateczki, who is a Polish prog rock
Ooh.
musician. Sungazer, who are like techno prog, but also they have a saxophone, and
Yo.
Pliny, who is like one of the just best musicians on the
Stargaze
planet.
with the group I think they are. Is that fucking Adam Neely's group?
Yes, it is. Adam
Oh
Neely's
my god,
fucking
Stargaze
great.
is great.
You'll have to
Adam
send
Neely-
me those names later so I can look into them.
Absolutely will. You'll love them, all of them. But that concert was amazing. Adam Neely is fucking hilarious.
Adam
so
Neely's a
Pliny-
goober.
But yeah, that was a great time. And then also I've been hiking a lot. Me and my best friend back home went on like a 3-mile hike that included a basically like 45-degree hill. That was rough. But we did it, and it was great. I've also been watching OG Digimon. And I've gone through the first arc of OG Digimon, and then I also got same friend to start watching Ghost Game, and I forgot how hard the opening to Ghost Game goes, like the first episode.
I think if you continue through Ghost Game, you're gonna hit some of the episodes and you're gonna see why Michael and I really, really like what it's doing. But also you're really gonna feel what Michael and I have felt watching it, which is, oh my god, can the story happen? Much more so than any other Digimon, in my opinion. I think the only other one that comes close to that is maybe Tamers. Tamers has like a slow start, but it's like deserved because it's for character building. Which Ghost Game kind of does, and the episodes it does do are its better episodes.
So
You also eventually hit the parts of Digimon Adventure and 02 where you'll go, wow, that was really dark. Why was it so dark? And then you'll realize that the person who wrote those episodes went on to write Tamers.
Makes sense. No, like watching that first episode because we watched it today before I
Mhm.
drove across the state to go to this concert and see John. The entire time he was just like, "This is just Cyber Sleuth. That's all it is."
Yeah, there are a couple of differences in the overarching plot, but yeah. By the way, at some point in time, you all should play Cyber Sleuth because it is a really, really fun game
Yeah,
with a
eventually
very
I'll come back to
interesting
that.
story. And then Hacker's Memory. I love the story of Hacker's Memory. I have never felt Hacker's Memory does one thing that I will say, which is Hacker's Memory takes place alongside original Cyber Sleuth, but you're doing things in the background of what the main character of Cyber Sleuth does. So there'll be a point in Hacker's Memory where we'll be like, yeah, you're gonna go do this, and then on the side you'll be like, well, who's that person? And it is your pro tag from the last game. It's really fun in that way. And it's basically just the exact same gameplay style, which in my opinion is really, really good because like it just builds on it. And like adds a couple more Digimon and is really cool. And I think by far I think its characters are much better than Cyber Sleuth's original set of cast because there's a character who I think is mostly atrocious. And then there's you, who I think is very and then there's another character who is like the carrying of the team in terms of story. Whereas in Hackers Member, I think all the central characters carry that game very hard.
Fair enough. Aside from that,
Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga. We've been watching Vinland Saga, and I'm excited to watch more of it. Also, tomorrow at some point when I get home, I convinced my girlfriend to let me show her Bunny Girl Senpai, so I'm very excited for that.
Here we go again.
It's the third time I've watched it in a year.
Are you ready to subject her to this October? Subject her to watch another with me and you
Oh,
again?
she would actually be down for it probably.
Just thought. No,
But
I am almost contractually obligated to watch that show every year. Not quite, but almost.
so she'd probably be into it because she's super into horror stuff, and I don't think she's seen that. But she messaged me the other day, and she's like, "Hey, so you watch anime? Can you recommend like either like romance or horror or action or something like that?" And I was just like, "We're watching Bunny Girl."
Yeah, it hits one of those sometimes too. I wouldn't really say it's horror, but it does some funky shit.
But romance was the first on her list, and I was like, "Got you." But yeah, that's about all I've really been doing. That, and I've been playing Final Fantasy. I've been grinding for mounts. I did Tsukiyomi Extreme, which is a level 70 trial or boss fight, and it's the extreme version, so it's longer and harder. I did that fight, which normally the fight takes like 5 to 7 minutes, depending on if your group can do it fast enough. I did that fight for 6 hours on Saturday. I did not get the mount.
Were you just doing over and over again, or is that one fight?
That's one fight over and over and over.
Okay, I was gonna say that was just one time.
No.
Holy fuck! That's
No.
I meant that you lost that shit.
I mean, I've done that. I've done that with the new Pandemonium raids for Endwalker, because I was progging them week 1, and dear God, I don't know if I ever want to prog that game.
What's prog?
Progressing.
Thank you.
It's doing fights the earliest that you can do them to see if you can figure them out before anyone else.
I think the only thing I've spent that much time in, as in like doing one part of a game for that long, is Monster Hunter World. Because there are some fights in that game doing it with only 2 party members, me and my friend Ego, where some of those fights really take some time, especially if you are not equipped up to the point the game doesn't tell you should be, but you very quickly learn you should be, and you're not cheesing it.
I've had the fights that have taken me like 20-30 minutes.
Hmm.
Because like taking turns and like figuring out strategies and stuff, and like
Quick,
like a lot of turn-based games can have long ones.
quick question for Michael before we move into a new segment on the podcast. Michael, are you, because you are the person I know who would play these types of games, are you going to play the dumpster fire that is Redfall at any point in time?
No.
Okay. I just had to ask. You never know.
Why would I play a game that
Is worse than
Redfall-
Borderlands? It's just boneless Borderlands?
It's so funny when Redfall comes out. Every reviewer says it's bad. Then when we get the fucking most fire review ever, it just says, I mean, it's good enough if you have Game Pass.
My favorite
God,
review.
that is such a good fucking way to describe it.
My next goal.
cool.
My next
See,
goal
that's-
Good enough for Game Pass was the title of an article, and I think that's amazing.
You know what's not fair about that though? You know what game also came straight to Game Pass and is a much better and a game much more worth your time? Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I haven't heard bad things about Atomic Heart. I haven't heard anything about it other than people want the robots to step on them or something.
Yeah, a very particular
I
set of
don't know.
Roblox.
I don't even know what that game. I don't even know what that game is. It BioShock? Is that what the game is?
Unfortunately, it does fall into a Bioshock. It's Bioshock in a way that it shouldn't be, where it's like, oh, this is a really cool game. Oh, it's become Bioshock. What a shame. Where it's like, this could have been original and neat, but it's Bioshock again. But that's besides the point. Let's move into our newest segment on the podcast. What's the best episode of the week? We do a power ranking every week, but sometimes that is more a reflection of our overall thoughts on shows throughout the season. And especially for me, I found that this week my power ranking does not reflect what I think the best episode of the week is. So I'm gonna go first. I think the best episode of the week is My First Clueless Friend. That episode's just good. It's just a good episode. It follows the characters really closely. We'll talk more about it, obviously. And the end of that episode is it's a knife in a way, but it does something that I think drastically potentially changes the dynamic of this show at the episode count that I think is appropriate. Because you going into episode 5 and changing the dynamic with that with something that feels so obvious, but also makes a lot of sense that hasn't been brought up, I think elevates that show tremendously. And if every episode like finds a way to innovate like this one did, this show is going to keep rising for me. I thought that was the best episode of the week for me.
Okay, so what if I told you I agree?
I told you I also.
What if we interrupt and we
agree.
say we all agree? Because like,
What if
you
we
think
all
there's,
agree
like,
that episode was
the
fucking
drastic
crazy?
difference between,
Hey,
like,
that's
the first
fine.
episode and that one, like,
There's like 2 particular reasons.
Yeah.
First being, I think it does a really good job of having Tayo out of the show for the first half.
Mhm.
Because he was starting to get a little bit grating with his constant being a fucking dumbass. So like pulling him out and just following her for a bit was really good. But then he's introduced, and this show's strongest parts are when Tayo is forced to stop being a dumbass because he has to use his brain. And God, does the emotional gut punch the end of this episode both hit you and hit him, and it's so good.
yeah, like the moment where she's like, oh yeah, no, that's why they call me the Grim Reaper because my mom died when I was.
Well, no,
Really?
here's the
No,
thing.
no,
Here's the
they
thing
call her
about
the
we'll
Grim Reaper
hold
just
on.
'cause
We'll save that and talk about it
Yeah.
during that part of the episode. But that's not quite it, because it's a very important line she says before that reveal. That very much makes it clear that this is completely coincidental.
No.
Mason, do you have anything you want to add about it being the best episode of the week?
No, it was the best episode of the week. That's it.
It was
There we
so
go.
good.
It was like, I think 2 that could have maybe hit there, but Clueless First Friend just kind of did it the whole way through.
You know, there were a lot of other really
My
good
close second is
episodes.
definitely like probably Insomniacs, just because I think that show was just really solid this week
Hey,
in general, and we'll talk.
I don't
about
remember
it,
what
but, like,
happened in Insomniacs. I just kept it at 1 because I like Insomnia.
Hey.
Clueless Friends like really had like that huge like drastic like you said, no Tayu was like, you knew he was gonna be up north, you knew they were gonna find a way, and I think it's interesting to see her like at school she's really nervous and like sad all the time, right? Except for when he's around, right? But when she's like with her family and stuff and she's in a normal environment, she's actually really like just a normal kid, just like
She's
in a
just
good
a
mood.
normal kid
She
who
has
gets bullied.
is
Yep.
happy, like
She's also just adorable. But again, we'll talk more about that later.
she's great.
Hey guys, it's time to go into something that we didn't, normally do. It's power ranking time. Slam it right into that. Yeah, I think we're finding a very interesting dynamic here, this week, which is, we have kind of a collection of things that are sitting at the top, and then a collection of things that are sitting at the bottom. What I'll say is, I don't think any show had a really bad week this week. But I think a lot of things made efforts to change where they were, in my overall thought of them.
There's a lot of shows I wanted more of this week.
I agree very much, which makes this vote off a little difficult for me. Because while I think there are some shows that are of particularly low quality, it's a matter of, does the fact that I think they set up for me to want more mean I want to keep them around another week? Which we'll talk about. Yeah, there's a couple of outliers. I think it's really funny that the show that's consistent on everyone's list except for John is Yamada-Kun. We all just flatline that
put it
one.
too high this week. I definitely agree I put it too high this week.
I don't know. I think we'll talk about it. Again, don't think it's a bad episode. And now we're gonna bounce back because not bounce back to that, but we're gonna bounce back to something neat. I guess I'll also post this for you guys. I went ahead and did something, which is another new first, and it will be apparent to our viewers right now. I went and I tallied where shows figured out where everything was lined up. Any ties were positioned in a way, as you see, for like second place, and what's the other one? 10th. And I think this is really interesting, and so long as I have the time to do it, I also have one for this week with the power ranking, so we'll see how things change retroactively at the end. But we're gonna wait till the end of the episode. That way we don't get spoiled on how things changed. This is also a really neat way to see whether or not our slays reflect, a statistical average of how things go. Sometimes, data doesn't always match what happens, and I always think that's really fun. Any thoughts about this? I think this actually hits our feelings pretty well for the first week. I feel like this was about where we all lied. With kind of that middle being a weird mashup.
I do love how it's like Sean Mason, action, me, Michael, the rom-coms. I think that's funny.
I mean, someone's got to pick them.
I mean, I had Insomniacs second, so no.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw Hell's Paradise top 5, but like, you know what I mean. Like,
So
the
I'm
number
gonna
one spot,
move that back down, and then we're gonna jump right into it. Reminder: spoilers for these shows. Please do not spoil anything for us. We've only seen up to episode 4. I'm talking to you in chat, Dylan. If you spoil anything about Hell's Paradise, I'm banning you forever. He gets very mad at
you from League server that you probably
own. I actually don't think he's the owner, but he certainly has mod privileges, so I could not do that. But I know a person who could.
No, he's the owner. He has the owner.
God damn it! I thought it was Tanner. But
We'll
either
ban
way,
him from it, we'll find a way.
yeah, he gets really mad at me because he wants me to watch more of the show, and I can't until we're always going to be behind. Which we're in a really weird spot where like some of our shows were not as far behind as we are for other ones.
Yeah,
Blue
one
Orchestra.
of them were one of them were on pace, and some of them were 2 behind.
Yeah, Blue Orchestra were
And-
actually 2 behind.
No worries.
Which was really weird, because you said you couldn't find the new episode, but where I watch it, I have up to episode 5 out. Unless you were waiting on something else. I thought you said Blue Orchestra though.
No,
Yeah, it
his
was
site
Blue
just
Orchestra.
didn't have it.
That's weird.
I didn't-
His
I
totally
didn't
legal
have episode
website.
4.
But Mason, let's talk about Hell's Paradise.
Yeah, so Hell's Paradise this week, it's spooky, creepy body horror monsters. They're coming out in full force. Gabimaru is fighting the fish with arms for a bit. And then they get through it. Because our Kunoichi shows up with her executioner, and they end up helping kill it. And then Kunoichi is like, "Hey, I'm Maru. We should work together." And he's like, "No." She's like, "But like, we should do it." And he's like, "No, I have a wife." And then she's like, "No, but I have information that you need." And he's like, "Fine.
Still have a
And then-
wife.
I still have a wife." And then we get information on our bandit boy, Bandit Bakugo. So he
Bandit Bakugo.
That's
Fuck
what
He
you.
really is. He's just Bakugo and Alibaba thrown together.
So basically he was like raised, him and his brother were raised by bandits. And so when he took over being the bandit lord, and then his brother, when he got captured for being a bandit lord, joined the Asaemon to get him out. So it's just two bandits. They are running away from the monsters. And there's a point where it looks like Bandit Bakugo is going to leave his brother behind, and then it just turns out he's just grabbing a bigger knife and
And a
kills the
bigger
monster. It's pretty cool, like getting I don't remember his name, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very tired.
I knew it. It's Cho something.
Oh, it's is
Are
it?
we talking about Bandit Bakugo?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
Choge?
I got you. I'm scrolling through characters. Hang on.
I feel like it's Choge.
Did we see Fuichi this episode? This guy?
No.
I read it for like a second. Where the fuck's Bandit Bakugo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shion?
It's not Shion, that's one of the other ones. Oh, Chobe.
Chobe, that's
Chobe.
it. Yep, close.
Yeah. But yeah, Chobe's really sick. He's just a cool dude. He's a very cool character. Gabimaru is a cool character as well.
Gabi-kun.
They're just good boys. Yeah, I mean, I liked this episode a lot. I liked seeing the combat. I liked seeing the like alliances forming and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I thought this episode was great.
My thoughts. Action, probably the best we have in the season. Lots of really clean, just absolutely demolish fights. Things I thought were interesting that I liked. We're starting to get the Asaemon's ranks. We still don't have hers yet.
No.
Which I think is because when they reveal to us what hers is, we then understand what direction the ranking goes. Because I still don't know if it's higher number better or lower number better. Because guy traveling with big sword criminal is 8. Guy who defunct to join
Kunoichi.
Yeah, thank you. Is 9. And then short round guy with glasses is 5. So is he a sleeper or?
I think he's
I think
a
a
sleeper.
But we don't have any other major number to reflect, right?
I could have sworn we knew main girls.
We
Dylan
don't know
said
hers
this
yet.
to me.
I could have
Dylan
sworn
said
we were
this
told,
to me
I could have
too.
sworn we were told hers was like 19 or
No,
something.
we were told she was the lowest, but before they said what her number was, she cut him off. So we don't know yet. We just know she's the lowest. So as soon as we get her number, we'll know what direction it goes.
My brain assumes lower number better, because that's how everything works.
Usually, but you never know. I would assume so too, I guess, because then you have like a definitive top as opposed
Do
to an
we get
infinite
rank
top.
for fucking Zenitsu looking motherfucker?
Nope. Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
8. He's 8.
He's 8.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
above the other
okay.
guy, which I have to
Yeah,
assume is
he
because
puts-
he's like a
the one who throws
poison.
the wrench into it.
He's like
whack
a-
as fuck.
He's like a poison, like dissecting, like botanist nerd, which is really cool.
Yeah, and he gets the fucking Baki thing where he looks at someone, the person imagines themselves being cut in half.
Yeah.
Which is literally the fucking Baki bit.
Yeah.
Where you
I
see,
always love
you
that
see
bit in
Musashi
combat
and
where
you
it's
just go,
like,
oh,
I
I'm
would die
dead.
if I fought this
Huh.
person.
The one we don't get is the younger brother for Chobe. We don't know where
Yeah.
he is yet either. I like that dynamic. I'm interested to see how it evolves. They very much are making him seem like a character who is going to die.
Absolutely.
I'm impressed we didn't get a haircut scene. Because I really thought that's what we were gonna have to do.
Yeah, it looked like it was set up the Naruto haircut.
Because they're
Yeah,
because
right.
they're like change must happen. But we didn't do it. Only thing I'm a little hesitant on with this show is I don't know how I feel about the oh man, I'm useless plot we're getting for our main female Asayamon.
The classic useless main female lead.
I'm hoping we're not in this for too long.
I don't think we're going to be.
I don't think we can be. Like, I think the situation calls. And those are my general thoughts. I do think the Buddhism-Taoism mix thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited for more of this show. Michael, John?
Action good. Show go in. The show's gonna be very brutal. Which is interesting because we haven't had like a very heavy brutality at show in a minute. So I'm interested to see how like I also the horror aspects of it, but like I like the blend of like horror / gore that you see a lot in these shows. Will be interesting. And the question of why didn't he just kill her again? Like I still don't understand why he hasn't killed her because he was going to kill her that one time and now he isn't, and like he clearly could.
His wife. It's his
I
wife.
feel like
It's that balance
remind him of his
between.
wife or something.
No,
I think it.
His wife was like, "You don't need to kill anymore because you're not that kind of person."
He doesn't gain anything from killing her because his hands are untied now, so she's not impeding his abilities anymore.
I guess, but you know what I'm saying, like where it's weird.
It explains it in the episode, John.
I do think there is a parallel they're making between her and his wife where they share the same view on him, which is like show your emotions. You don't have to be hollow. They both have expressed that to him. And so there might be a little bit of like that, oh, if I kill her, I'm kind of killing like the ideals my wife also represents.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, overall, I think the show's good. Like, I mean, it's gonna do very similar things. It seems like from week to week, and I'm okay with that because it's good.
Yeah, no, I think the show is really good. I think I might it visually dropped down one because Clueless went crazy this week, and it's my show. So I had to give it something, and I was like, where the fuck do I put this? Because I wanted to give it a noticeable bump. Because we hadn't talked about we're gonna talk about our favorite show, but I wanted to like give clues, like get your time in the spotlight, King, before you inevitably have to drop a few more probably because other shows are just gonna go crazy and you're just gonna sit there.
I mean, I gave Clueless a bump, but I couldn't give it. I didn't feel comfortable giving it a massive bump on my list.
I give Clueless like a +2 or a 3.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same.
It's just +2.
I had it much lower than you did originally, which is the thing where it's like, oh, this bumps up 3.
Yeah, it was more that I didn't even have it that low, so it was kind of hard to be like, I'm gonna give this a big bump, but it's not going above Skip and Loafer.
Michael, let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, it's Heavenly Delusion. Yo, gang, what the fuck was this episode?
This baby once caught a fish this big.
Yeah, so this episode, do we start on the boat or do we start in the compound?
We start on the boat, okay, and then we go to the compound almost right away.
Yeah, they're like fish bad. Okay.
Fish move with hands.
We go.
But hold that thought. We'll be back.
And they go to the compound, and then we see Tokyo being escorted to see the babies by Froppy. That is her name. She did not have she's a frog. She fucking climbs the wall like a frog.
Is her actual name like Haru?
I don't fucking remember. And I don't feel like looking it up.
There's too many names in this show.
She is Froppy from My Hero Academia. That is her name. And they go, they see the fish. Not the fish, they see the baby. The babies are significantly less creepy than I expected them to be. They're still kind of weird, but they're just like little alien guys with the little targets on their faces. One of them looks at Tokyo, and it's very, very interested, and it just sits there, staring at him. And then then Tokyo sets up an intruder thing because they're not supposed to be in that room. But no one knows what an intruder alert is because it never happened before. Because why the fuck would it? And so they aren't able to find him, and then he gets out. And also the cameras are all broken. I think that's really funny. The cameras are all just completely fucked in this place.
Broken.
We'll talk, John. We'll talk about it after summary. There's a lot in this
it-
episode.
There's it's like 3 cameras that just don't end up doing seeing what they're
Well,
supposed to or something.
Do you want the explanation now, or you want to wait till you're done?
We can talk about it right now.
Okay, it's only the cameras they're on,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
which John
There's
and
like
I.
3 different cameras that it happens.
I have a
to.
theory of basically.
Yeah, I think John and I have the same one. But the important thing is they are showing all the other kids on every other camera, which means all the other cameras are working every time except the one Tokyo's on. And I'm gonna remember his name because his name's just Tokyo, but said like spaced out.
And Froggy too. Like both of them that aren't on the camera.
Well, that's my argument.
because we see it typically with Tokyo later.
It's I think the argument is that it's Tokyo in particular but we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Continue,
why
Michael.
does he do it? I don't know, fucking. But they get out. He somehow gets back down from there. I don't fucking know how. Whatever. He climbs the bot back down. And then someone tries to be gay. And he's like, wait, I don't want to be gay. And then he goes, wait, I do want to be gay, but with someone else.
Sure Tokyo's a girl.
Are we? Do we know?
We don't know.
I
Tokyo is
think
just
so.
a character.
Because she goes with the guy later. And there's 2 guys, right?
Okay. Again,
Tokyo's gender is female.
Tokyo has
Okay.
we don't know
Tokyo
Tokyo's
is
gender. I just
female.
assume it's a guy.
Okay. If we
But we don't know.
if you guys are confident that they've
Yes,
said
we-
female, okay,
I'm looking
I'll
up on
trust you.
English, So
We see it. We're looking at it right now.
Okay. I'll trust it.
Well, so Tokyo doesn't want to be with the sick boy. She wants to be with the cool, hot artist boy.
I don't know if that's the way to put it, but you're not
What do you
wrong.
mean? That's exactly what that section was.
No, but
And then fish.
There's an entire thing within this episode about the kids are discovering things about sexuality and romanticism, even though it's never been taught to them, because
And
humans are horny.
And then also les fish.
Yeah, then we have the
Yeah,
fish in the other side of the episode.
Yeah, and then we go back to the outside people. Again, I can't say back to the past or the future. We don't fucking know.
The longer it
They're
goes so
fighting the
far,
fish.
the longer I think it's
Yeah.
simultaneous, but
I think the compound stuff happened beforehand.
Why aren't they
Because
both
I think
person?
that baby is what's going to turn into
one of the
Maru.
monsters.
or main
I
character.
can't think of Maru. That his name?
Yeah, Maru.
Maru.
Yeah, him. I think that's what that was. I think that was the baby scanning a face.
Oh, and he's looking for
Yeah,
that
maybe.
person.
It's looking for a thing to
The-
be.
The baby does also copy Tokyo's voice on the way out, but that's besides
baby.
the baby.
But yeah, they fight the
Fish.
fish by giving it weed. The
What a-
dried weed dries it up and then it dies.
What a great
There's
fight!
weed on the bottom of the boat. Because of course, they're smuggling drugs.
Really
They
good will
fight
building.
The fish. Then they're like, okay, just give us some information. Information's really cool. We don't want your money because we don't care. They go, we think the symbol on your thing is this supermarket chain. It wasn't. And they find an abandoned supermarket chain and get some food. They eat some food.
And the episode ends with Tokyo being told to run.
Yeah,
Run.
Tokyo's told to run.
We're also
Also,
missing
Sick
the,
Boy is like dying. He's like extra dying.
That makes sense, given the other character we know who had this
Let's not forget to
disease.
talk
Yeah.
about the mother robot that like controls this compound.
Oh
Yeah.
Also we have the best character design ever. And
Pregnant
everything,
robot.
which is
Aunt
robot
Fanny.
connected to big machine, thing connected to big machine with lots
No,
of
it's,
pipes and tubes.
It's Aunt Fanny.
What's that one name?
That's Aunt Fanny.
I was thinking a different one, but
Mason, you were
um,
gonna say
wait.
something.
I was talking about the
Yeah.
big
robot.
It is supposed
But
to
yeah.
look like it's pregnant. That's gotta be the thing, right? Like it's gotta be the idea because you have the babies, you have the kids. John, you and I both think, right, that's the thing that's hiding them on the camera.
Yeah, that's the thing that's fucking with the cameras because it controls the compound. It seems like, and like it tells the adults what's going on, which tells me that's like it's doing something to like either hide Tokyo or hide other things on the cameras that it doesn't want them to see. And was it the thing that warned him, or was that just like a general broadcast to his room?
That was
I think
you
it
mean
was
like
a general broadcast,
the
right?
intruder alarm or the one that told him to go to the sick
The
friend?
one told him to go to the sick person.
It's odd because I think it's this it's
Cool.
definitely the system, but like the idea is that it said it was only broadcasted to him, which is a very unique.
It seems like that was just a thing Taro like told the doctors to do. Is like, hey,
Yeah, it
tell
didn't
him
seem
to
like
tell her to go. Hey,
yeah,
visit.
it didn't seem like the doctors were shocked that Tokyo was there.
I was confused. Yeah.
Some interesting things this episode outside of that. The babies have the same design as the monster's eyes. The spiral pattern is the same between them.
Really similar, yeah.
Tokyo left a footprint on the wall. Surely this will not have repercussions.
Surely.
I'm trying to think other things. Maru can just kill things by touching them if they're a man-eater.
We saw that before.
Did we? I didn't remember
I
seeing
think
the
we knew
dissolve
about that
thing.
from the bird.
Okay,
one
I
was
didn't
Tokyo.
remember.
That ate the lady.
Okay.
That toaster head in half, and then ate her. He touched it. And
The
that's what killed
Maru
it.
touch.
So you had that cool like scene.
See, yeah, so I think there's a bigger argument that instead of maybe the babies become the doppelgangers, that the babies might just become the man-eaters, but...
Who knows?
I guess we'll have to watch more and find out.
I
Ooh.
feel like there was
find out
another...
eventually.
I feel like there was
Find out.
another thing that stood out to me.
What was that, Sean?
I was saying, I feel like there was another thing that stood out to me that was like an important thing, but I can't think of it right now if there is.
I feel like the show has a lot of important things that are hard to follow sometimes because it's going back and forth. But
Hey Mason,
Okay.
what made you uncomfortable this episode?
the baby thing.
No,
Are we talking about white-haired boy trying to explain sex without knowing what sex is?
Yeah,
I want to lick you,
that
but not
bit-
eat you.
You want to eat
That
me?
bit made me so uncomfortable.
I think it's so...
That's the point.
I think it's really
But,
funny.
yeah,
So I didn't
understandable.
feel the same way, so I got done with this episode and went, was that it? Was that what it was? I was like, I really like this episode.
The question is,
Don't get me wrong. Is
who
it that
is making
bad?
horny?
Is it that bad? No. It was just.
It's just
I
really
didn't
weird.
I didn't like the vibe of it because he like.
Fair. He
he's
gets
kind of
really...
Oh,
pushy.
he certainly gets a little.
I think the line that's a little more concerning, actually, is the, I want to keep you in my room. Oh, for a little
Yeah.
bit. No.
No, here's the thing. No, for
That-
like an extended period of time.
That's
Like,
that's
you know, so-
sociopath behavior.
I haven't even explained things that I should, and now my brain is taking over with chemicals that are telling me to do things on impulse, and it bad. I mean, that is
I
what
assume
being
the
a man
idea.
evolves into. Yeah, I mean, we just got to reproduce. That's the whole goal of being a species. So in the end game, having babies is kind of the point. Obviously, I don't know if these kids can have babies. Those ones in those rooms probably didn't come from one of these kids.
No, the idea I assume is that it's either the mother machine thing or some other virus or someone is causing the hacks and stuff that are making kids horny, essentially. Like sending white-haired boy the picture, the random message that appeared on the one
That-
girl's tablet during the test.
That
Should have
is the
done
really
that.
important thing, is that he didn't get that picture from her. Which,
Yeah,
computer,
and also it got deleted.
Yeah.
good.
Maybe it is
Good
Laura
for
just
her.
fucking- Or Mira. Mina.
Mina.
Hey,
You got
2000 Space Odyssey.
this. Yep.
Or is it 2001?
Hal.
How?
9,000. Yeah, I mean, that's what it feels like. Like it's like this super.
got that
computer
energy.
entity, God deity that's like just like messing with them basically to like create their own species of the man eaters, I guess. Bless you. Again.
Also, base decision to imply that this bigger entity is maybe letting the kids experience things that the doctors maybe wouldn't have originally planned to
definitely,
teach
yeah.
them or have them teach them. And one of the things that naturally occurs is gay. Good. Teach the world.
And to one point,
Learn
I will say,
Japan.
like, it's hiding Tokyo. It's not just hiding Tokyo because in the one shot when it's the wall,
It's hiding
it's,
the robot
well,
and her and
her,
Fergie.
the robot, and the vent being open as well.
That
So it's like, it's
nothing is. It just looks
nothing
completely
is shown.
normal.
It's a static image basically.
Yep.
It's like when like you watch like a spy movie and they hide the camera by just like quickly putting the exact image in front of it basically, and like
Mhm.
keeping it to the camera. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the show goes. Like it feels like 2 shows in one, which makes it a little bit hard to digest a bit, but in a good sense, right?
Yeah. I'm still
not, like,
hesitant.
bogged down by it.
I'm still hesitant on it, but I really liked it this week. And also, man, that fish's movements. One of my favorite lines. We'll just let it in on the ship. You know, because it only can move in a straight line. What? Why did you?
It's a shark.
Sure.
I love the brothers, by the way, where he's just like, "Yeah, it's locked." He's like, "It was never locked. It was never locked." Like,
How dare you kids ruin our ship? Thanks for saving us. Yeah, thanks for saving us. The world's
Yeah.
worst yes man.
Those assholes. Yeah, they're pretty good kids. Yeah, they are pretty good kids. Like,
Yeah, you don't fuck with the boss.
You don't fuck with the
likes
boss.
you. Yeah, you cool.
Well, they're literally brothers, so
It does
makes
have
really
that
funny.
energy.
I was like the older brother.
The gooner.
I was like, how it's just like a smuggler ship. It's like they're selling weed, but like they're just.
Well, yeah, they're selling weed because they just came from a plantation that smokes a bunch. I really like the fact that they set that up, and so it's not something that feels out of place in the resolution of the event. Like, it makes sense that they managed to think of this idea because they're like, there's no way this ship isn't smuggling weed. We just came from a place where all everybody does is get high. Like, I like this. It's from a story build-up point, the show's smart. And I really appreciate that. It's just, will it fall on its face halfway through and or at the finish line?
The question is, where these 2 worlds that we're seeing collide, basically.
Will
right?
they? Are they the same worlds?
Or will we ever find out? Thank you, wondering.
Don't mention it. We're not gonna. Hey guys,
Well,
It's
this one
Mashle
isn't
time.
work, so it's not a priority.
let's run through Mashle real quick, because honestly, pretty big 2 things happen. They're like, hey Mash, why aren't you flying? And or Sports Boy comes down and tells him he needs to be like Bamboo. Trust him, he knows what he's talking about. He then gets absolutely beat the shit out of by one of the opposing players, to which Mash goes, okay, yeah, now you've started something. And kicks his leg so rapidly that he hovers in the air, and then throws the ball with a perfect spin so that it goes through the hoop and immediately comes back to him, and then he gets a new high record and breaks it and earns a silver coin. This then garners the attention of our new blue-haired character, who is a Syscon. He then kidnaps all of Mash's friends and shoves them into a bottle, and then uses his gravity magic to try to fight Mash and beat him in combat, to which Mash goes, no. And then he wussies out and goes, I'm holding this bottle over the cliff. I'm gonna drop it. Your friends are gonna die, and I'm gonna win because as it falls, you're gonna fall, and I'm gonna attack you like a coward. And Mash goes, oh yeah? I'm taking my stance. What does he call it?
Hamstring magic?
Hamstring magic. And he goes, I've never heard of that before. And then he instant transmissions down and up the cliff. It's wonderful. And then he also outreads him and is like, that was a fake bottle. You have my real friends somewhere in here. And then that's episode ends there. We also get an explanation about blue-haired boy's sister, his younger sister, who he adores, who has a disease that is slowly sapping the magic away from her, causing her eye marking to slowly disappear. We also get the explanation that people with multiple markings on their face are more powerful, which, 2 things about that. 1, didn't notice that, it didn't click, and when they mentioned it, I went, oh yeah, he does have 2 marks on his face. And then the only thing that I could think of is a character later just having marks all over their fucking body, just tattooed with lines, and is just the most powerful entity in the world. I wish I don't remember this character's name. His name's not difficult. The blue-haired guy.
Lance.
Lance.
Crown.
Lance Crown. Yep,
Crown.
there it is. He's neat. In the same way that I feel about that I feel about Lemon. I really hope there's more to this character down the line.
I'm so sad you don't have screenshots this week because I gave the best one.
I do.
You certainly are not looking at them.
We should be.
You are. I've been watching the stream the past like 30 minutes, and as I wanted to see what the screenshot was for Heavenly, and it wasn't there.
Is it not showing?
No, it's currently just showing us.
That's
So this was these were very good channels.
It should be showing.
No.
Michael, you need to update the stream or unpause it because it's showing the Mashle
Oh.
shot.
How did I end up 30 minutes back?
Good question. Here, Michael, I'll roll back. Fish this big. And my wife.
Mhm.
So yeah, for some reason, I guess I clicked somewhere weird and it just decided to pull it 30 minutes back when I wasn't
Wow.
paying attention. Because everything was moving still.
There we go. Yeah, but
Maybe you clicked it
cool.
or something.
yeah, no, I used it. Don't worry, it is the best shot of the episode. I don't have too much to say about Mashle. I feel about the same as I did last week with it.
I have a lot. Very good.
I feel the same way I did last week about it. It's just other shows kind of pushed above it. I have no issues with it. It's doing its job. Good. OST still slaps.
God, when the OST's able to like actually stay for a bit because he's doing his Hamusing Majutsu and he fucking pops off so good. It goes crazy. Also, this episode's just real fun. Lance is a character. He's a guy. His magic's cool as shit. I
Yeah.
love gravity magic. Gravity magic's great.
It is dope that it is dope that he has that and is already established to be really powerful. I like having an additional cast member who can do things. I do also. It is also really apparent we're gonna spend the first 5 episodes introducing cast. I imagine next week will be Redhead.
Yeah, probably.
And then we'll see the story progress. So, you know.
That's the only thing I don't like about Mashle so far is that it's like the first half of the show is just gonna be Mashle does things and then other people just exist, right?
Mhm.
And that's just kind of the part of the show is like Mashle being the best because that's the point to a degree. But like to me, it really kind of feels boring. It's like no one else is useful around him. It's just Mash doing all the work. To a degree.
But
Which
he's
that's
dumb.
That is
not
fair.
right?
With where we currently are, it absolutely is a fair.
Like the rest of that
assessment to
team,
make.
Yeah.
the rest of that Quidditch team, dog shit. But Mashle just giga carries 1v9.
Hey,
Like,
they get
he didn't-
some
He didn't
points.
teamwork. He just solo carried. And then this fight is just like friends are captured. I win because I'm better.
You have to think about it this way for the Quidditch game.
So imagine
Sorry,
you get-
the
You mean Dulo?
the Dulo game. Let's not get them into any trouble. Fair use parity. One, they're down a player. 2, their captain star player gets body checked off his broom.
He also stops playing for a solid
Yeah,
5
it
minutes.
makes sense that they get their shit rocked in the time period that they're gone.
I haven't seen this, right?
I would.
Okay.
He probably has, but would still hold off. on it.
Michael, does this mean Zoro has magic abilities because he has a line on his eye
Maybe.
from One Piece?
Maybe.
But I mean, we all kind of knew that's what that meant with the lines and stuff. We just,
I
like,
didn't.
I knew that was like magic related. That's why he didn't have one.
Well, yeah, but
Right.
I didn't know that.
Magic.
There have only been 2 characters I think we've seen with 2 so far, if I'm
Yeah, I
paying
believe
attention.
It should be Lance
And the older brother, who we just get shots of occasionally, right? Because he was the previous Divine Visionary?
Divine Diablo.
Yep.
Or were those 2 separate characters?
I thought that guy had 3. I don't remember.
He did not.
Either way,
Because he's the guy who has the lines down both sides, where it looks like he's crying.
that's right. I do like Lance's design though. I like that he has like the one earring that's a planet for the gravity. I just noticed now looking at the screenshot. I think it's a nice touch. I hope this isn't like Harry Potter though, where each character has like 2 spells they use ever.
Well, we know he. Well,
They'll get into it.
hold on. We also know there's like a core set of things they do, because Lance does the same thing the instructor did during the tryouts, where he teleports in flame, where he disappears out of the practice room. So there are base spells, it seems like most people know. Or at least competent people know.
I hope so. Because it's like, you know, talking about the Harry Potter thing where it's like Harry only used Expelliarmus. He didn't learn any other magic at that school.
No, he learned
that's not true.
Expecto
He learned
Patronum.
Expecto Patronum. once.
I feel like it's fine if they all have their own thing, because that's every shonen. Like, there are very few magic-based shonen where it's like, yeah, you can just learn everything. Like, people specialize. Even like Naruto, it's very much like you have a set amount of things you can do based on your chakra, unless you're one of the main characters, in which case, fuck that, you get to break the rules.
In which case, you get to do one thing,
Well,
all the time.
yeah, but...
and you get to add little modifiers to it.
Mhm.
Whether your name is Naruto or Sasuke, it's what you do. You get to do one thing and add modifiers to it.
That's all
Yeah,
it
but
does.
he does use clones to Rasengan.
Oh boy.
I mean,
Oh boy,
he also
used
gets
the
sage. He
modifier.
also
He
they
used
also
the
get
big
he also
Rasengan.
gets sage stuff, and they get to summon. And Sasuke
Well,
has
he
all the
doesn't
stuff
summon
related to the
tonight, he
Uchiha
modifies- he
bloodline.
modifies
There's a
other
lot of
things.
stuff there.
It's a big thing.
They
It's a
do
big
do
thing.
other things, and to be fair to Naruto, last thing I'll say, and then we'll move on. Naruto's whole other thing is that he's not good at jutsu. The
Yeah, that's
actual
true.
only thing he's good at is Shadow Clone because he read a forbidden scroll about it.
And he has a ridiculous chakra.
Yes,
control.
correct.
Not even control.
He does get.
Yeah, no, just chakra. His control
You
does
said-
get better, but his
But you
control's
can use
not
the
particularly good. Like, Sakura has the best control out of the three of them. Mason, other thoughts about Mashle? Everybody else, other thoughts about Mashle? Are we good to move on?
I like Mashle. I knew this was coming because I knew you had made a comment about him being a syscon.
You can tell from the opening.
I mean, yeah. I do think Lance is legitimately a really good character, though. It's
Yeah,
just a matter of we have to
absolutely.
get to that.
Yeah, they also play up the syscon stuff enough that it isn't like weird because
Yeah.
it's played up to a point of it being ridiculous.
Yes, I do enjoy what is the most important thing in life, and like Mash gives
Family,
some really good answers that he should probably that you would expect Lance to agree with Cream Puffs again. But Lance is like, no, in particular, my little sister. You should value my little sister as the most important thing in your life, and you've never met her. That's crazy.
I do like that. Like they have the cream puff gifts, but it wasn't like shoved in your face this week, right? Like they mentioned like twice. Like I like that characters have gimmicks, and it's important to like spread that out, right? Like it's like this is the funny thing for this character. It's gonna come up. It's not gonna come up every time, but when it comes up, it's gonna be funny. And like that's good.
I love when it becomes plot.
I do enjoy the bit from Lemon this week when I don't know why you're so surprised about that. I can't wait for Mash's only magical ability he develops to be making cream puffs.
He gets like one little tiny like teardrop. Or one little cream puff tattoo.
I enjoy Lemon being like, fuck, damn, Lance is hot. However, I'm already betrothed. Just can't. One thing I'll say about Mash is I already kind of know I'm gonna enjoy at least or main four boys because they're very shonen stereotypes distilled into one character, which I then imagine as a parody show they're going to eventually stray a little bit from. But like Lance is very clearly like the Gray, the Sasuke-esque kind of rival who has the same objective as Mash and starts off as an antagonist of sorts. Redhead guy, I have expectations for him to be very similar to a certain character, just because of how he looks, and we'll see how that goes. But let's progress. Hey John, let's talk about Skip and Loafer.
So Skip and Loafer this week. So it opens up with our main girl Mitsumi being once again coerced into trying to get Shima to join the drama club by their senpai. And so then she gets really distracted by that all day. She can't focus. She gets shown like a little clip of him as a kid acting, and he's really good. She's like, "Wow, that's cool," but like, there's gotta be a reason why. Which again, like, smart girl goes, he was really good. There must be a reason why he doesn't want to do this. How do I bring this up without just like shoving it in his face? Which is like, wow, crazy. Like you don't just go right to him and go, hey, why don't you do this? And then you actually ponder it and go, how do I like talk about him without making it seem like aggressive and pushy? Which is like, what a normal person would do. unfortunately, she's not a normal person, so she spends all day like obsessed with it. Like she's zoning out during her studies, doesn't do well in a quiz, goes to gym class, gets hit in the fucking face by a volleyball.
Not to
then
this
goes to-
extreme, but man, do I feel this. I've been
just
there.
obsessed with one thing all day, and you just can't focus on anything else.
One fucking thing,
Yeah.
man. Sometimes.
ADHD is a hell of a drug, guys.
True.
And so she ends up in like the nurse's office, and she's looking out the window like, this sucks. And then he shows up at the window because he's like taking a break from playing soccer with the boys, and they have a nice little chit chat where they're like, she ends up bringing up like, hey, so why don't you do this thing? And he's like, well, I think he mentions it's something like he did for his mom, but he never really
Yep.
did for himself. And then so they talk about kind of their goals and stuff. And she's like, well, the reason why I do this is like I could stay back there and help my hometown, but like there's plenty of other areas that are like underpopulated, so I want to do that too. I know you want me to shave it down.
No. I mean, the show's just spending some time sharpening a knife there.
Oh yeah, no.
I did it for my mom. Oh, but you don't do it anymore.
Why?
Hmm.
Yep.
Do I smell trauma?
And so then they kind of share like reasons for them doing it and stuff, and like basically saying she has a goal to begin with. And he's like, yeah, no, that's good, you know. And he's like, I couldn't handle that kind of expectations. And she's like, well, I only can because I have this friend back home who's, you know, going to support me whether I succeed or fail. So like, if you ever have a goal you want to succeed at, I'll be here to support you whether you succeed or fail. And like, that was my favorite moment, is like her friend like getting her out from her studies and going like, let's get some food, let's talk, you know, pass or fail, let's come here again, it'll be fine, it'll be celebratory or recovery. And that scene was really, really good.
And the
with her
second
best
half
friend.
of the episode happens.
And then they make a pinky promise, and that's just the first half of the episode. I forgot about this face. But there's no way he's joining. Okay. And the second half happens where it's like, okay, we passed Golden Week. So what happened? I went all around town with my aunt. And then they all talk to each other about studying for exams and stuff. And she's like, wow, I'm not disciplined enough. Who can I talk to be more disciplined? And so she goes to her advisor, who's the least productive person in the entire office, apparently. Who says, you should just follow around this person. She's a second year in the student council. And she's like super regimented because that's what works for her. So she makes like a super oriented planner, has specific times and stuff. And actually our main protagonist is like, yes, it's me. I can do that too. And so she starts making her own notes and following her around places, and they go help with student council work. And then eventually she keeps getting distracted because her fucking ADHD riddled brain keeps kicking in and going, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Which is driving her senpai insane until like they finally get to this bus ride back, and she goes, ooh, look at that. And she goes, would you shut the fuck? Oh, that is pretty. And then she actually has a good night of sleep because she can like settle down about the cat, playing with the cat, waiting for the next bus, basically.
And then we
And
get a
so
little.
she's like, you know what?
Yep.
You know, you don't have to be like me. Just be you. It's fine. And she sees her as like a cat in the morning, and it's very cute. But overall, I really like this episode. We introduced new side characters at the same time with like the second years. We have more good scenes between our main two, boy and girl, and we have a knife getting sharpened that's gonna stab us in the chest at some point.
To be fair, this student council member we saw last week.
I know, but
when
like,
they
we
went
didn't,
to
like,
join, we got a little bit out of her. Like they introduced the diligent character trait in that episode. Like she talked about her notebook. They talked about how busy it can get and how like she has no time for basically anything else. They definitely expanded on her here, and I enjoyed the overall message they're getting across with that bit of the episode. But I did think I enjoyed parts of both of these two halves of the episode, but I wasn't like fully engaged the whole way. I still really like the show, still think it's really good. But that's why there was a small dip for me here this week.
Yeah, for me, like the first half was just like super good for me. It was, like, everything I want out of this show, basically.
I also do think that her character traits shown off in the second half of this episode are really important, because it's like, oh, she's fine with getting with missing a train and not rushing, and instead hanging around and just taking in the environment. Those things are actually really important for what she wants to do, which we learn this episode is help rebuild forgotten and kind of left alone rural areas of Japan to make them more hospitable and grow population. Understanding the people and the locations you're in and spending time with individuals on like a personal level is something really important to politicians, especially those who want to do things that are radically different than like the large mass. So like in a way that is not explicitly said, I really like this characterization for her for the show.
Mason, why didn't you like this episode?
It's not that I didn't like it; it's that I liked everything above it more.
Yeah, Mason did come out of this episode telling me he was like, I almost cried.
Actually, now I'm looking at your episodes. Yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Yeah.
That's very you.
Like you said it to me, Mason, right? You said you almost cried in this episode.
There was a bit of it that almost made me cry.
The friend scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that almost made me cry. It's just like I liked Hell's Paradise most. Insomniacs is just a show that is built for me.
Built different.
Clueless First Friend just went hard this week. I thought Marginal Service went hard this week. Clearly, I am alone in that thought.
No, we'll talk about it.
But it's
Mason,
Marshall
I told
Service.
you. I thought the first half went hard. I didn't.
But
The second
actually-
half we'll get to.
We'll
it.
talk about it.
And then Mashle.
It's fine. Just go on.
Other-
And then you like Mashle too.
Other skipping
Yeah.
Loafer stuff? Skipping Loafer stuff, Michael?
Skip and Loafer, very good, very cute. It good. If Insomniacs wasn't here, it would be my number one. But you know, it's Insomniacs, so whatever. Skip and Loafer is just real good.
This week.
She's like the realest motherfucker that ever did be.
She's the realest motherfucker. Just like
Hey,
taking that character and then like putting her in hip hop clothes is just what I'm imagining, and it's so funny.
Hey, Michael. Blue Orchestra.
Oh my god, we're gonna talk about Blue and my boy Blue.
My boy Blue.
So Blue Orchestra. They're in high school. Yes, that's the school they're in.
Yeah.
They're in high school, and Aono has no friends because of fucking course he doesn't.
Have you
fucking-
looked at him?
Have you looked at the way this man tries to interact with? He's the worst. He also doesn't try to be much better. He kind of doesn't want to interact with people. He literally went to this school because no one else would be there other than Aki, because it's like the one person he can kind of get along with sometimes.
Apparently, everybody else ever from his music history.
No shit. He really fucked the bag on that one.
Yeah, he certainly
Kinda
decided to
into
go to the one school in like this half of Japan that has a thing where people can play stringed instruments in a group. So every person who had ever gone to all of his stringed instrument competitions goes to this school. He meets one of them. He meets one of those cello players at the music store trying to pick up a violin string. He's a
cello
chill
player.
motherfucker. He's great. For the first, like, when you first meet him, he's great. 10 out of 10. And then he interacts with a female, and you go, okay, not the biggest fan of that, but, like,
Hello, Brock
It's-
from
it's-
Pokemon.
so it's like
Yeah.
there's a little bit
I
of
was gonna
charm
say
in him
that.
being way over the top,
Oh,
but
man,
also it's a
I hate
little...
that That's the same reference I got.
Hear me out. He's a cello player. Of course he wants to pull bitches.
You guys gotta play the cello to do that. I don't know, it's the cello. Coolest instrument in the fucking string section. But yeah, so now Aono has two friends, 1.5. Akine is half of a friend.
No, he has
whatever.
two friends because he has two half friends.
Yeah, so he has one friend.
No. He has. I would say Akine is a friend, and then he has two half friends.
Oh, okay. Okay, we haven't gotten to other half friend yet, but yeah.
We're about
It's
to.
Akine, he has Yamada. Then Yamada sees him at school being a loner. We cut back to our first scene, which is him sitting there on the stairs. Then Yamada goes, "Yo, what up, bitch?" And he goes, "Not much, eating lunch." He goes, "Why are you sitting there?" He's like, "Cause I hate people." And Yamada's like, "Fair." Then they turn around and see
Thanks.
Akine and Akine's friend Haru, I think
Haru.
her name was.
Yep.
Which is the girl who was very shy and didn't want to interact with him last episode and ran away. Yamada goes, "Yo, she kinda cute though. You know her? Let's go talk." So they go and talk. Haru apologizes for being shy. They're like, "Hey, let's," and then they're like, "Wow, we're gonna join the orchestra club, all three of them." And they're like, "So I don't know, what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Guess I'll join the orchestra club."
No, he's checking
Maybe-
out the orchestra club.
Yeah,
he's
like,
not
I
gonna.
guess-
He's not gonna join Baka. He doesn't like music.
I love the three reactions too that we get too, where it's like the one girl is like, "Oh, yay, she's joining." The one guy's like, "Yeah, you're joining," and the other girl's like, "What the
Wait,
fuck?"
wait, you're actually, wait, you're joining? Cool. Then after school they go to orchestra club where they
Look at that.
explain to all the orchestra people how orchestras work. I understand it's for the viewer, but
Oh,
God,
yeah,
is it really great having them go. So in an orchestra, there are 2 violin parts. There's the first and second. Yeah, you fucking know that if you're joining up for this. It's signing up at this point.
Well,
Unless you're
I'm gonna
Akine,
explain it
you're
to
an
her
idiot.
because she doesn't know shit. But like everyone else in that room should probably not work.
Which
Yeah,
then,
every other person here knows how this works.
however, this then builds into what might be the funniest fucking scene of the episode, which is they go, okay, everybody in the string group who plays a string instrument, please separate into novice and experienced players.
And then
And
Akine goes to the experience side. And now
And-
Aono's like,
Aono
what
gives
the
her.
fuck are you doing over
He
here?
really does give her a look like, do you think that? Do you know who you are and how you sound?
It's really good.
I just explained
and-
to you
and
what
then
a concert master is, and you think you're experienced?
And in the background of this entire bit, you see our boy Psyche now, who is this very famous violin player, who's their age and very good at the violin. He won every competition right after Aono left. And they see him and they go, "Hey, you should play some." The people who are in charge of the violin, they go, "Hey, you should play something because you're really good." And he's like, "Okay." And they're like, "Oh, someone else should play with him. You, person with the blue hair." And he goes, "Okay." And then they go, it is weird because you don't just sight read things like this. Is not how this works, but whatever. And like, you guys are going to play Vivaldi's Spring from the Four Seasons. Like, okay, this is fair. This is absolutely a thing both of them know. This is one of the most famous violin pieces of all fucking time. And then Psyche plays like 3 measures, and then Aono goes, "Oh shit, he's good." And now he's nervous. And the episode ends. Also, Psyche 100% knows him.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he talks to him, he's like, "You want to play? You scared to play, Yamada-Kun?" Every day, like, what the fuck? But yeah,
Hear me out. I know this show looks like dog water.
I think
And
the
by
show,
far-
is fine.
This show doesn't look like a show should in 2023. But, and I also know there is a point where when they're describing Concert Master, they do a still... Never fucking do this as a creator of anything. They do a still frame screen capture of the CG playing.
Can we also talk about the fact that literally anyone who is not a character that talks in this episode is CG?
Yes.
Literally every single non-speaking character is CG.
To be fair, no, exactly, because I was going to say, I don't know if you guys noticed it when we watched it, Terror and Resonance does the same thing. Any character who's not important and is in a crowd is CG.
Okay, but like, they didn't stand out.
But the plot's so important that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
He
while...
stood out.
while-
He noticed in frame
Hear
one.
me out. Yes, hear me out. While all this is true, I really want to see them play.
That's literally my logic too. Is like, you know what? I just want to see them
The
play
best-
this together to see how it goes.
The best part of the show is the music, and they edged us to the part where they're about to play music. And I'm also really interested. The thing carrying this show is that I am down for the I really enjoyed the conceit of Aono stopped playing music, and everyone around him goes, no, you were the best. Why the fuck did you do that? And Aono goes, you don't get it. As he has to rediscover his love for the thing he left, for a very justifiable reason.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for this storyline. I do see the show's flaw. They're very hard not
But
to
I
see.
do think that that's actually how it works. You do.
Can you do
Think
that?
it
Like,
hard
I'm
enough.
curious. For reference, I
You
posted a
do
screenshot
literally
where,
think it hard
I
enough to
did-
not have to
like-
hold it.
he plays his violin string,
Yeah.
and he just goes like this and just lets it go. Like, can you physically hold that there? I don't know how. Like,
Violins are.
It's not like he does it for-
They are very.
It's
light
not like he
instruments.
leaves it there for like 3 minutes straight.
I know it's light, but it's just like it looks wonky in CG.
Oh, of course.
He just like shakes out his hand and goes right back to it. But
And also, there's no way these 3 characters are the only characters who know him. I'm excited for an expanded cast. I'm excited to see the way that their upperclassmen might react to figuring out who he is. I don't know how many people they know who are named Aono that they don't already know it's him. But, like, you know, the shot where he's walking through to buy the strings for his violin and he sees the magazine of his dad, I'm like, yes, good, keep
Show me the
doing
drama.
this.
Yes.
But like I like the idea that it's like, yeah, his father was so good that even after having an affair, there are still stuff being made about him for like that is in circulation because he was that good. Unfortunately, that's how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, man, why'd you stop playing music? Trauma flashback.
No reason.
Just cuz.
Drama flashback watching mom crying as I console her. No reason.
I also like how Yamada, upon hearing now it was like, I just kind of stopped. Yamada's like, fair.
Yeah, he doesn't
He
press
doesn't
him.
push it farther. Because
Good
he's like,
friend.
okay, probably some shit happened.
He probably
Or
has
he-
enough social awareness to eventually have it click in where he goes, oh, he doesn't remember me as much as I remember him, huh?
And he's that guy who always talks.
Yep.
But it's just like my brain is just like, you're lying, April, you're lying, April, you're lying, April. Whenever I see like trauma flashbacks, characters that remember you when you were younger but you don't remember, like my brain is just like alarm bells.
I mean-
Tragedy is coming.
I said
Dad's
this
gonna show up at some point.
last week. The plot of this show is very close. Not exactly the same. There are similarities just in general, however. To the parts of Nodame Cantabile I adore. And I'm hooked. I'm fine continuing to watch this. I'll talk about the decision I'm gonna make tonight probably when we get there. Other thoughts though on Aono's Orchestra?
I just want to see them play music. Like I just want to see how like this sounds, I guess, to a degree. But
We know Aono's really good.
yeah, which is why like we know he's really good, which is why like I feel like he shouldn't be as nervous as he is, but at the same time I get why he is,
I mean, so here's
It's
an
his first time
important.
playing in front of senpais and best player in the fucking entirety of
Yeah, but he also
Japan.
like won national competitions as a kid.
But that's as a kid.
He
Times
also
pass.
hasn't really
I
played
literally
in
looked at this
2
music and went like, I could
years.
play this in my sleep. Like,
Well, yeah, but there's also an important thing. How you can correct me because I know nothing about actual music. How different is it to play second violin from first violin?
I'm a percussionist. It's all like they're completely different parts that complement each other usually.
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
it's
understanding.
literally just a separate, and it's an entirely different piece essentially.
So-
Generally,
It is an entirely
second's a
different
lot
piece.
easier.
However,
He might have
With-
originally learned. Sorry, Mason. Go ahead.
you're generally going to see every single part because
Mhm.
while most people that are like first chair are going to be playing first part, you're still going to see the music at some
Yeah.
point, and you're going to play other parts
Mhm.
so that you can have an idea of what the other person is doing, so you can complement each other.
But here's the point I want to make is being a soloist and performing on an individual level as a child prodigy is very different than playing in an orchestra with other people, which I think is going to be a main point the show
Yes,
makes.
But
You
at
would
the same time,
expect
there's also,
both
like,
of these characters to have issues with that going forward, is that they
There's
both
definitely
have never done it.
a meshing aspect too of that, but like at the same time, you also have to mesh with like your pianist who's like
Yeah.
guiding you in a lot of solo performances. Because usually it's not a solo performance; it's a solo with an accompanist. To fill in
Mhm.
those gaps for like things like the second violin and things like other parts.
Mm.
That's where the piano accompanist comes in on a lot of these solos that you see.
Um,
Because its job is to like complement the performer.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I don't know how many shows you guys have seen that have used this style of thing, but this is very much to me like the idea of
Oh, they mesh with
here's
group.
the character who was really good at one aspect of the sport or field and has gotten to the point where they go, no, actually, I'm done being solo. I'm going to play team now. And it's like, oh, you've now run into issue. Like, there's usually an antagonist character who does it, and then there's also usually the main character who might do it, where it's like, you can no longer do your solo stuff, join the team collectively, and put your ego aside. The thing that I think is interesting is that neither of these two characters so far seem to have been built for either of those stereotypes, which is why I'm interested to see what the show does with the orchestra.
Yeah, I watched those Snow White notes.
I watched Burning Comedy.
Oh, true.
No, like there's a lot of examples of this. There's
I
some
watched
characters.
Kuriko's entire the last
Yeah.
half of Kuriko.
There's an entire character in Haikyuu who kind of has this issue. There
Oh, yeah,
is
no.
Michael, Skate Leading Stars, is the entire plot of that. Is that he's a solo skater coming back in to be a team
Oh, yeah.
skater.
The thing we watched like 4 episodes of. Yeah,
Yes.
That one.
But like this is also the idea for Prince of Tennis, where it's like, oh, you play singles, you're gonna play doubles now, and it goes, not as easy as you fucking think. The skill sets are similar, but are applied differently when you actually get there.
You'd think, but
Not if you grew to be a singles player.
Where you have to do everything. And different strategies, I imagine. But like, anyways, back on topic though with this show. Like, I think it's okay. But I need to see more from it. And I don't know if we will, but we'll see.
I want to, which is where I stand with it.
I got basically everything I needed out of the show in episode 2. And I don't really care to watch anymore, to be honest.
But he can slide on his feet. But he stands up. He's bricked
Movie
up.
stands up.
Michael, you also have this as your lowest show, right?
Yeah, it's more just like I don't hate the show. I think there's still things that are good in it, but I'm not gonna try to do the same thing I did with Biscuit Hammer and try to argue, yo, this is some like banger shit. So I thought Biscuit Hammer's main two characters had a great dynamic. I enjoyed them immensely. Like there was a lot of Biscuit Hammer I did really like, but God, did it start to get really jarring when I started to like focus on how stiff and boring the show looked. And it's really noticeable in this show now that I've seen how the studio did it.
I was gonna say, what a strange comparison to make of completely different genres. What if there's any reason you bring that up, Michael?
Crazy.
Stares at Nippon animation.
Stares at crying.
Let's get into this. My home hero this week. Things are fine.
Yeah,
Tetsuo has decided he is now removing his family from the equation and going, I'll work with you to help catch the killer or no killer, to help find the missing person.
He's alive, I promise.
No killer. And so this guy whose name I forget, well, I'll explain why I forget his name. It's like, hey, give me all your contacts. In fact, we're just gonna make a complete copy of your phone. And if I call you and you don't pick up, I'm setting your house on fire. And Tetsuo's like, okay, I get it. And then he tries to go back to a normal life. Is this a thing? I need to know from you all, because I don't know. Is it a thing to have a clear plastic thing as a wrap for an injury? Or is this like a weird aesthetic choice to not have to draw bandages on his head? It's really weird looking. I've never...
I have no idea. It
I was like, is it?
Shit.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a rain cap.
I had
like,
no
for
fucking
outside.
idea what it was for a while. But he's clearly beat up. He gets out of the hospital. His wife's glad to see him. He's like, everything's fine now, darling, thanks to you. And then, like, he's trying to set up for, like, to figure out ways to get out of this, and he's like, hey, my daughter, who I love dearly, you got a picture of your boyfriend I could have just in case? And she's like, that's fucking weird. Sure. And then we start the covert operations, stealth minor gang leader who has been around for a while and really wanted Tetsuo dead the last episode, stops wearing his normal attire, so I don't realize it's him for half the episode. But they go into to investigate. Is it Nobata? Is that his name? Nobuto. I was close. They go to investigate Nobuto. So they go to a club, where they meet one of his girlfriends, which gets Tetsuo really fucking pissed. That this guy had multiple girlfriends, and this girl's kind of like, yeah, his new girlfriend is like very immature, and the only reason he was with her was for work, so that she could get into doing porn and like get experienced for it. And then Tetsuo goes and has a breakdown in the bathroom before he gets a text that says, "Get the fuck back here." At which point he gets back, and his gang buddy's gone. He's left to go spy and eavesdrop on the conversation. To which Tetsuo finds out that wow, we just did it. Nobito. That Nobuto actually screwed the gang family out of money a year and a half ago. which he flexed to this girl to try to prove his love to her. While this is all really silly, I believe it 100%. He really does seem like the type of guy to do all this dumb shit. And then
Maybe we robbed a truck and I did it.
and then maybe in the most comical fashion, but also, makes sense, the club comes back and goes, hey, you've taken up too much of one of our hostess's time. Here's the bill of money you've cost her while she could have been working. Pay us back. If you can't pay us back, you can do a job for us. Or we could just kill you. And they go, I guess we gotta do a job. To which they get taken to a meetup between two gangs, one who's very violent. And their escort, who's in charge of their job, kind of goes, okay, I'm gonna get out of the car, I'm gonna give you a signal, and then you're gonna do it. And we get no explanation of what any of this is. And then it's just him and Tetsuo. It's the gang member and Tetsuo chilling in the car. Yep.
What I will say is, I think they I think it was like people because this is a club that the family went to or whatever, like the mafia that they're part of went to, and so I think they were like, why is he here with the suspect? And so that's why they're like, okay, he's clearly working outside of his reins, and then like put him up for this job basically to keep him quiet, I guess.
Yeah. Which becomes a little more apparent in a minute. So we get a little bit of alone time with Tetsuo and our mob member in the car, to which we actually get some dialogue I really like between these two, which is basically him going, you knew I bugged your phone. And Tetsuo goes, well, yeah, you set it up really well. You gave me a really cool line that was like a cover for 3 different things you did in bugging my phone and being able to keep tabs on me and like keeping me on the edge so that like you always know where I am. And he's like, you're fucking weird. And Tetsuo's like, I just really like murder mysteries. Don't read into it at all.
Which is true.
No, it's true. Yeah.
True. He really does just like murder mysteries. He was just a dad.
And this episode,
a week ago.
This episode does show off that some of the best lies you can tell are actually the truth, because they also go to the bit where they're like, you were at Nobito's apartment. And he's like, well, yeah, my daughter had bruises and I wanted to know what the fuck was up. I have alibis. You can ask any of his friends. And then he just thinks, oh shit, should I have said that? Fuck, I'm telling the truth. Oh my god, lying. My mental state is a complete wreck. But back to where we are. Our gang member then turns to him and goes, you killed Nobito, didn't you? And Tetsuo's just like, what, makes you say that? And then the signal goes off, so they drive the car into the air and then do nothing and spin out. And then the car gets shot on fire and they miraculously escape down the hill. As the rest of the gang drives a massive semi-truck into the 2 opposing gangs. And we find our main boys down the mountainside with our gang member having a bullet wound to his chest, despite the fact that no glass of the front of the windshield was broken, so how that bullet grazed him, who knows?
But it was spiderweb because
but
it doesn't actually shatter like.
I was gonna say it wasn't visible at the time the bullets were being shot at them.
Maybe.
But they are down by the tree. And our gangster's like, Mom, I was almost there. 30 days to retirement. He doesn't say it, but you know. And then Tetsuo's like, don't you dare fucking die on me. Do you know the situation you've put me in? You need to stay alive. And then the gang member's just like, hey, you're crazy. I know you can do fucked up shit. You're not just a normal guy. And then one of the 2 gang members whose deal they interrupted comes running down, escaping from the mountains, and points a gun at Tetsuo, and the episode ends on a black screen with a gunshot. I wonder what happened. Here's what I'll say about my home hero this week. I actually liked the direction it took the show in.
I agree. I think this episode was actually pretty good, but like it's still like really confusing.
But I don't know what else to say past that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know like why the rest of the mob just gave up on keeping tabs on him suddenly. Like,
did they?
That's the question, because clearly they knew that he was here and set up this job for them, basically.
But do they know that like this could very much be seen as like, oh, one of our guys just isn't letting go of this guy in the family, and we have no evidence to prove that he's actually tied to it. Like, we're better off just investigating other routes. But now that he's bringing him in, it's weird. What's he trying to get out of him? Like, I kind of get what's going on.
Also, get like his hidden Twitter account to prove that he's like betrayed the family, basically.
Forgot about that, which leads to the really weird scene of him staring at it, and she goes, "Oh, you're just gonna memorize it?" And then he's like, he's fiddling with his phone in his pocket.
He's like, I'm analog. It's fine. Well, he's fiddling with his phone to create the interference.
The shows. Oh, you're totally right. Which I didn't. I hate that I didn't pick that up, and you're right.
So I was like,
The show's interesting,
the show.
but it's certainly very much in our low bracket, right? Like, if it's not going this week,
Michael,
Wow.
as one of the people who doesn't have it as the bottom, you two, what do you guys think of it? That makes it slightly better than Blue Orchestra this week.
It at least does something, and it's
Yeah,
moving upwards as opposed to sideways.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more to get at this show because the story, at least the story seems like kind of interesting with how they're playing through it. Again, I don't know how the show's gonna do 8 more episodes of this bullshit.
Yeah.
it
feels
just
the
seems like
stakes are
by
just, like,
convoluting spinning him around a circle of, oh shit, you're getting stuck into things you weren't meant to get stuck in.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
next thing you know, he'll be like diving out of a plane to like steal the Declaration of Independence in the White House, and it's like, how did we get here? So it's like it feels like okay, murder.
I can't wait till the episode where he goes to play
Kidnapping?
dodgeball for the Mafia's team, and we
Doing
get a
mob
sports
work?
episode.
Murder again? Like I thought we were going. I thought it was like murder 1, evade them, kidnapping, murder 2 is where I thought we were going to go this episode, and then we didn't. I'm like, okay.
I do
now
really
don't-
like the parental instinct he has in the bathroom where he goes, I would kill that guy. He deserves to die. What a scumbag. Oh, I already
Oh, but I
killed
did
him.
kill that guy.
I still wish I could kill him again.
Yup.
Base dad energy.
I also like how the hostess is just like, oh, sorry, you're just a nice dad. I'm sorry, that was a little mean to me. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
she's
called
still a
your-
virgin, Dad.
I
It's
called
fine.
your daughter a slut. Sorry about that.
Where did he
Anything
find out
else
she took
or
Daddy's money?
anything else, or we're ready to move on?
Ready to move on.
That's kind of it.
Hey, I want to say something before we talk about Insomniacs.
Yeah.
I really liked this show this week. I would have moved it more, but I have reasons why. Similar to Mason with Skip and Loafer, I really liked everything I have above it still. But this was a good episode for
Fair.
it. Let's talk about it, John.
Anyways, Insomniacs. This episode I thought was really good because we get like it opens up like the friends kind of talking. They're getting some bubble tea. They're hanging out. They're talking about romance and stuff.
Hold
like,
on,
oh,
pause. You can't
Yes.
skip this. The
Oh,
show
right,
opens
that's
with the
right.
shot of him taking a photo, and he sets the shutter speed to 20 seconds, and then the photo goes off 20 seconds after he does it.
Does he actually?
Now that's some Sunny
that's-
Boy shit.
so
Yeah.
nice.
So here's how I
satisfying.
know this is because I watched the scene, and as I'm watching, I go, "This is a pretty long pop," and I backed it up and I counted. I was like, It's like it might be like a tiny bit off. It might be like 21, but that's just odd timing. Probably it's as close to 20 seconds
That's
as you
super
could get,
cool.
and I love that.
Sorry, and then we get our main girl Isaki or Magadi. She's hanging out with her friends and they're getting boba tea because come on, or sorry, tapioca as it's called. And we get the flashback of her one friend who's like, I just want to solve that last problem, but I got distracted, and it cuts to him just like falling asleep during the test. She's like, he does so well, but he doesn't even stay awake. That piece of shit. Like almost like her like rivalry with him. And so we get that a couple times this episode, which is really nice. And they talk about the astronomy club and stuff, and she's like, yeah, we're having an event, you guys should come. They're like, yeah, that sounds fine. And then they're kind of just talking about like this story about the bridges. If you hold hands and are quiet across the 7 bridges, you'll be in love forever, whatever. You know, one of those stories that you see all the time.
Yamada-Kun, 7
What a
bridges.
crazy what a crazy urban legend, by the way. If you walk across 7 different bridges while holding hands and saying nothing to each other,
It doesn't say how like the time period either. Like it's like you can do that any time in your life, you know.
still.
But
Yeah.
and then the other girls, you know, separate. She's like joking around, holding hands with the friends. Ah, you're gorilla grip or whatever. And then they have another conversation. Like, well, what about the fireworks festival at the end of the summer? You know, like wouldn't it be romantic to go and see that with like a guy or something? And then you have her Maggie imagining going like, yeah, but I don't know if fireworks would hold his attention. And she's like, you have someone in mind? And she's like, no, I don't. Or she doesn't say anything, but it's just like, no comment. And we have our boys playing shogi here.
He
He's talking about it, he's
becomes
like,
the March, comes in like a lion protagonist.
and he's like, hey, what's been going on with you and Marguerite? She's really sweet, but she's not my type. But working in the going on a date as a couple would be pretty cool. The fireworks festival, and our boy's like, yeah, that would be cool. Ganta's just like, yeah, that'd be cool. And he's like, good. I rattled you like a charm. Thank you for your piece here. And he's like, you son of a bitch. And so then they're going home. The two groups cross paths, and they have this awkward interaction where they're both like, and then they ride off, and then his buddy just goes, I see. And then they're setting up a tent by their senpai's place to kind of get used to taking pictures at night and stuff, and setting up tents and things like that, and taking his notes and stuff. And then you have Isaki shows up and surprises him, and his buddy's just like, well, time to get out of here because third wheeling isn't my job. Which, by the way, her fit, god tier. Look at the sideways hat, like the overalls going on, her overall dress. And he was like talking inside, talking about his notes and stuff. They're talking about pictures. They gotta make posters. And inadvertently he kind of asks her to go see the fireworks. And they have this really cute moment and stuff. And the senpai's like sitting there with the door half open, going like, I want to go in, but I can't interrupt the scene because it's too cute. And then we have the school trip stuff where it's like, okay, how are we gonna decide groups? We're just going alphabetical because we're a normal school. And you have the delinquent guy who's gonna be working with our main boy. And he sees him out at night because he's been taking pictures at night lately, talking about his buddy on the phone, being like, hey, so you're going to the fireworks on a date? And he's like, it's not a date. But the delinquent guy sees him and he confronts him at school. And he's like, hey, while they're peeing in the stalls, he's like, hey, I saw you outside. And he's like, I'm peeing here. And then, of course, like as they're concluding this, he's like, just drop it. He's like, I would never tell anyone. And the Musclehead's teacher just comes out of the thing and is like, I heard that. Didn't flush, by the way. But did tell them to wash their hands, which is, good teacher. They both get kind of scolded about it. They're like, hey, you seem sincere about it. It's fine. And then we see the weather and it's all rainy. And so everyone's kind of worried about like the beach thing, and they're going to have to go anyways. And it's like, now I definitely can't bring a camera there because that would be, the teacher's definitely going to be honest. It's going to suck and stuff. And then she has this cute thing where she just reaches up, puts his hands, like makes him smile. And then they put a little rain dongle up there. And hopefully for good weather so they can try to sneak some pictures at night at the beach. Like, hey, we'll make a deal. We'll both meet. If there's a clear sky night, we'll both meet on the beach at like this time or something like that. And so we'll see that probably happen next episode. But I just really like this episode. I think these two characters are great together. And it's a good time.
You skipped my other two favorite moments of this episode, so I'm going to talk about them real quick because for me, it's the opening shot with the shutter. The teacher being like, hey, just go to sleep normally. You don't have to be out so late. It'll be fine. If you don't go to sleep, if you keep acting like this, you're not gonna be a normal person. And he just fucking snaps on him, and it's so good. Yeah, it's such a good scene.
The whole scene he had with her was like, no, it's fine to be unable to sleep.
It really did. This is really one of those things where it's like, you don't know what I'm going through. And I don't know, and kind of justifies both of their decisions not to tell people that they're Insomniacs, because it's like people will think they're weird or they won't get it.
You don't have ADHD, just focus better.
Yeah. The other moment being the last shot of the episode, which is her going up to him while he's sleeping and then resting her head against his back and the heartbeat, and then the shot that I have is a screenshot, which is such a good fucking shot. If this show's episodes are like this every week from here on out, it's going to keep moving up. Especially if certain shows don't keep raising the bar like I want them to. I expect it to very easily clear a couple of these shows, which I know you're all excited about because you absolutely love it, and I'm the only person bringing it down right now in terms of its performance. But I do really like this show. This was a much better week for me.
What about you guys?
I just really enjoy this show. Like I said earlier, this is a show that is just made for me, and I'm mad I didn't get to pick it.
You had a chance. You could have picked it first.
No.
No, I didn't.
You could have. I picked fifth.
You picked
You guys,
Fourth
and
and
you guys,
fifth.
you guys all had one chance before this to pick this show.
yeah,
True.
and
I'm
you
just
knew what
saying.
I was fucking
You
picking.
could have first picked it. Boom, easy.
I was never picking this show.
I was never picking this show
Yeah,
first.
I could have picked this first, but Heavenly Delusion felt too much like a. Heavenly Delusion's trailer was really good.
Hey.
But yeah, this show is just great.
Fourth is
These
optimal.
two are wonderful.
Let's just show you
Picking
I
first.
love
first is the
them.
goddamn
This is a
worst.
clear win.
You use non-binary. That is cool.
He was no
I-
tiny.
I love them. I don't know. This show's just good. I really like how this episode focuses a lot on the romance stuff, and I love the two characters being like, yeah, I'll let them be.
I will say,
I know I know what a third wheel needs to leave.
I will make a small argument that I do think this romance is a little rushed. And the reason I say that is I don't think we've gotten as much time as they've clearly spent together. So it feels like they just like each other. Like I feel like we have gotten there too soon in terms of the speed of the show. But I also understand the show probably has a lot it needs to do, and so it needs to do it that fast. But I would argue that I think getting a couple more scenes, like the end of this episode, getting a couple more scenes of them just together would be more beneficial to believing this situation just having happened. But it's not a major complaint to have with the show.
We do get 13 episodes, which is nice with the show. So, but yeah, I do agree. Like, it might feel a little rushed, but I think the characters like have really good like how they appear towards each other and towards like their friends and stuff. Where it's like they're still realizing it, but like they don't quite like put it to stone yet. Like the classic anime trope where it's like, oh no, I don't like him. I just feel nervous around them, and I want to spend more time with them, and you know, want to go to the fireworks festival with them. It's not a date, but it's just for pictures, yeah, for pictures,
Yep,
pictures.
for
That was the
pictures.
best too, where they're both like for practice, for pictures, yeah, for pictures, of course.
Yeah, for all the
we're-
practicing she's been doing.
We're going for pictures and stuff. And
Hey, it's okay. She's drawing the poster.
True, she also doesn't own
understands
her
the
own
concept,
camera.
though. Like she like I think she's like smurfing it without having to take the pictures. She's gonna be the muse basically for the pictures.
True.
Which is what the ED is, like a bunch of pictures of her, which I think is really cute.
Yo, not to spoil anything about the end of Nagatoro season 1, but end of Nagatoro season 1's really good. It maybe
It
has a
is
tie to that
definitely.
line. Don't worry about it.
I just don't like that he's an incel.
What, the main character of Nagatoro?
He's kind of a beta.
Two very different things. Also, very much
True.
not an incel.
That's true. Other one.
Hey, I said it on that season of the podcast, and I will say it again. I have no fear. There is nothing wrong with being a bottom. Are we good to press
Not
forward?
wrong, but like the severity of it is very drastic to me.
You should continue watching the show to see how his character and her character progress. It becomes a very nice rom-com.
I'm sure it does. But it's
Other
not for
thoughts
me.
about Insomniacs?
Insomniac's good. I don't know. Good show.
Mason, let's talk about Marginal Service.
Okay, so this week bombs are happening, and also racism.
Racism's bad.
That's basically the show this week.
Yeah.
So a couple of bombs keep going off at like notable government buildings, and then also the Harpy Lady's house, because it just happens to be in the correct spot.
I have this shit.
Because it turns out that they are attempting to like this guy who is a Borderlander is attempting to like make a shrine thing pop up that was like it was a wall back during the Edo period or something like that. I don't know.
It's
I
it's
didn't-
the plot of No, go on. I can't do it yet.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't care about this episode's plot. Because at the end of the day, it's episodic most of the time. It doesn't really actually affect the main plot. But we did get a neat scene where after the third bomb goes off at Harpy Lady's house, they're there to interrogate her because they think she's a part of it, or at the very least knows who's involved in it. And she's like, nah, fuck you guys. You cost me my job. And they're like, no, we didn't, but okay. And then our asshole cop is true to form and is just like, I will kill you here and now. Tell me what I want to know. And Brian's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then Brian figures out the key to the code is flowers, and that all flowers are bombs. See, we made them in a bomb factory. They're bombs.
Made him in a bomb factory.
So
The bomb factory.
he realizes that
Bomb.
the flowers that she has is actually a bomb, and then gets them out in time. And he tackles her to save her, and afterwards she's just like, why the fuck would you save me? Like, I'm not gonna die from that. I'm a Borderlander.
Really
You,
funny.
on the other hand, could die. And he's just like, I don't know. I didn't save you. What are you talking about? Anyways, racism is bad.
Massive W.
Your kind has been marginalized, and I will make sure
Service you.
I will make sure that your kind is no longer marginalized soon. You know, for the service that I provide.
What'd you call it though?
Marginalized service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just making sure.
You can tell how tired they are by how long the bit's going.
I have been up since 7:30 this morning.
So, Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, so Rube
No, what do you mean?
Goldberg
It's not a
machine,
Rube
they get
Goldberg
caught-
machine. That's not the word they used.
Yeah.
What?
I don't remember what they fucking said.
For some reason, in the subtitle, they don't call it a Rube Goldberg machine, when it's
It
clearly a
doesn't-
Rube Goldberg machine.
It doesn't matter. It's a Rube Goldberg machine.
I
So
just
they
thought it was
go
funny
to
that the show doesn't call it one.
So they go to interrogate the suspect that they've narrowed down to be this fucking random ass dude. And they go into his apartment and they get caught by a pair of handcuffs that cuffs them together and then pulls them into what looks like a bomb. And they manage to get out because Brian's a homie, and then they accidentally drop the last ball in that would make this bomb go off, and then it turns out it's just Rubber Suit's new single, which actually is an encoded cryptic message to this man to plant more bombs.
About Buddhism.
But maybe that single
About
was just bomb,
Buddhism.
dude.
I hate you. Anyways, and then they discover that the last bombing site is going to be at this ballpark in the middle of the night, and they stop the guy by virtue of Brian being based. I don't remember how they actually stop him. I'm not going to lie. I watched this almost.
I think
every
Zeno
day.
just walks up and handcuffs him. I
They talk-
don't
no,
think
they-
they
they talk-
do anything.
They just talk about jutsu him.
Oh yeah, no. He was just like, "Hey man, no, you're right. Like Borderlanders have been oppressed, and I'm gonna work to make sure that that doesn't happen." And the other guy, like the guy who's planning the bombs, who's also a Tengu, by the way, is just like, "Yeah, fuck it. I guess I'll trust you." And then Brian proceeds to go, and he's like, "Well, it's just fireworks. It should be fine. Why not have some fun?" And places the last bomb, and then it proceeds to make a giant spire that is sucking the energy from the surrounding area. So that's what we have to deal with next time. Because Brian's a goddamn idiot.
You know, we already dealt with it because it was in the news.
So hear me
Like,
out.
Look, it's in the news at the end of this one. Right here.
Oh yeah.
So they already fixed it and stuff, and then they blow up again.
Oh yeah, and then there's another bomb.
Well, because we gotta kill the hamster again.
Yeah.
Groundhog.
And have it head land on
I
her
mean,
titties again.
Look, I appreciate that they I appreciated the first time that they did it where he's just sitting there with his hands
Why is
blown
this one
off,
cut
going,
off?
"What the fuck?"
I just like how this isn't blurred, but like that's blurred. His arms.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand Japanese censorship.
here's the thing. Brian's really wonderful in this episode. It is nice to have a character in this group who is very much a guy who came from the streets, who knows poverty. Like, that is the way he's being portrayed. And so the idea is that he can go, yeah, no, I get it. Like, you're living in a shitty situation. Like, there is no reason we should be so rough to all of you when... And, like, he even throws it back at Zeno's face where he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Didn't we say not to assume everything about every Borderlander? What's going on, dude? And it's very much supposed to be a call out of, yeah, you can do all these cool, neat things you want as, like, a government organization and be like, no. They're Borderlanders. Don't call them in proper terms, which did always kind of feel like an odd, like, oh, you should call them this, because that's the right name that everyone likes to call them, where it's kind of like the government sugarcoating it. I think it's really weird that you have the Borderlanders, and then we're also just doing regular immigration conflict as well.
Yeah.
It's very weird to very clearly have the Borderlanders be like, yep, this is an allegory for immigration, this is an allegory for immigration, but also immigrants. Yeah.
That's the word.
The bombing plot point is just the plot of Bushiguro. You guys might not know this, because I don't know if we got far enough for you not to be fully understand, but they were making the exact same pattern as in Bushiguro. And just instead of lighting fires, they're just exploding flowers. Honestly, probably rooted in the exact same origin that they took that from. I actually think Brian detonating the last bomb is based as fuck, and we should have more of that, because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really painting their organization in more and more of a dire light of like, yeah, you guys might not be the good guys, actually. Also, Zeno has a trauma moment that very much feels like it's supposed to be, oh, well, he treats all these people so bad because drugs and crime took his wife from him, which in reality just means, yeah, you're still a shitty cop. And you shouldn't blame the people who are being victimized by drugs and poverty and crime for the bad thing that happened to your significant other. I really hope this show, if it stays for a long period of time, gets the message right. And I said at the end of last week's podcast, I think after we were off the air, it might have been while we were still on, where I said, I could see this being a show people don't like if, like, the Borderlanders were a very, very supposed to be like, all immigrants, we don't like those immigrants, and they kinda are. So if the show doesn't take it the right direction, I absolutely get its low rating.
It's very much like we're not racist. Trust us. They're a problem. It feels like Men in Black, where it's like the aliens exist in like reality, and they're like, we only deal with the bad ones. Except in this case, they're like, we just deal with all of them.
I can't wait for the episode where one of the Borderlands is a child, and we have to deal with the repercussions of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a child of humans, so therefore it was born in this country. So do you keep this Borderlander here? Because it was born on this planet?
Oh boy, DACA.
Hi, immigration.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I like Brian this episode. I really hate everything else. He really walks away being the good thing of this show, with where they decided to take him. But I also don't really care about the rest of it. They also make it sound like Rubber Suits just vanished and disappeared completely, despite the fact that we set up the fact that he had a body double and is very much still active and around. So it's really weird the way the team talks about him at the start of this episode.
Yeah, it's certainly a choice. Also, the fact that we're just like moving on from Rubber, even though we know he's the bad guy, like we're. Just
I mean,
like,
he's
we'll
still
deal with
the
him later.
orchestrator of all this stuff. It's just
We gotta find a good way to crack down on him, I guess.
It's just a matter of like, what's the goal of the show? Is it to express that? Is it to express that terrorism bad? But also like people fighting for their freedom good? Is it going to do that? Is it not going to do that? Is it going to take a very problematic moral stance on a tricky subject? We'd have to keep watching
Probably.
to find out. Additional thoughts on the Marginal Service?
I think this is, for me, I enjoy this more than others because it's my turn my brain off show for the season. And what?
Go ahead, you finish. I'll go next. I got
I
it.
don't know. I lost my train of thought. I'm
Sorry.
very
It
tired.
turned his
Sorry,
brain
so
off,
guys,
like he
I'm-
said.
I would like to persuade the audience as to why we should keep this on for one more week, guys. I have a very important announcement. I looked at the name of next week's episode title. Sexy Santa Lights the Holy Night.
I know what next week's episode is about, and I'm actually very interested, although I know I'm going to take some issues with it.
I just like the title. I want to watch it now.
Hear me out, guys. I too actually understand Mason's point of view. He doesn't want two of his shows to go, one right after the other.
I mean, I also don't think it
True.
will, considering the fact that there are two other shows
Yeah.
that everyone really doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves to go. I just don't think the show is fine. It's fun. It's a whole bunch of Sentai bullshit. But like, there's just like actual good shows.
I agree.
I'll be the one to
I'm
say
not-
it.
I'm not trying to make a case for this being number one. I'm trying
No,
to
no,
make
no,
a
of
case
course
for this
not.
not being 11.
Of course not.
or
But
10.
Yeah,
I
it's
wanna-
It's a number 9 for me, where I
Thanks,
think it
Eric.
rightfully belonged.
I raise.
When we first watched these, I was like, "Oh, Dead Mount Death Play and Marginal Service are just gonna vibe." But like, Dead Mount Death Play, we'll get to it. I
Yeah.
think it just has a legitimately great cast of characters.
Surprise, surprise. It's by the guy who made Durarara and Baccano.
True, crazy.
So here's my opinion about
Yeah.
Marginal Service, and it might be controversial in this moment. I think Blue Orchestra ends on a good cliffhanger to want to watch the next episode, then vote it off later. I think My Home Hero moves the show in an interesting direction that has some additional stuff it's clearly gonna do, and I'm willing to give it the time. I don't know if Marginal Service has done anything to really make me want to care to see its next episode.
That's fair. I think.
So while I
Okay,
think it is
Marginal
still
Service
a
doesn't have
better
schedule.
show, while I think it is still a
Okay.
better show than Blue Orchestra and My Home Hero,
I would also much rather watch another episode of this
a thing you know
than
is going to be
any more
fine
Blue Orchestra.
versus
That's
the
fair.
thing that you
That's fair.
go enjoy. I get that. I'm in a different situation where I think I'd rather this go, even though it's not my lowest show on my power
know what the cool
rankings.
thing
It's
about
not
But
it
gonna
is,
be
guys?
long shot.
You know the cool thing about this is, guys, we all get to vote individually.
Isn't that
we don't have to
neat?
come to a collective agreement. We just get to submit it and let God decide. If
hey,
we
let's
have to.
talk about what we all collectively agreed was the best episode of the week. Hey, Michael, we already kind of touched on some things, so we shouldn't have to spend too much time here.
Yo, this show is
Those have, like,
fucking
popular
great.
versus it feels like week to week. Right?
But yeah, so my Clueless first friend.
Honest help with you.
This episode is
So it's
about
like you can feel it.
it's summer break or the start of summer break. They're going on trips, and she needs someone to watch. She wants someone to watch her cat because bringing it on trips is difficult. Which fair, bringing animals on trips is difficult.
But no one can take the cat.
She only has 2 friends. One of them lives in an apartment that doesn't allow animals, and Tayo's also going on a trip at the same time to visit people from home, where he used to live. And it's like, okay, fair. So she ends up having to bring Kuro along. And her dad is trying his hardest. But he doesn't set up the cage right. Well, first we're kind of just vibing at grandma's house. Oh, she lives in the country. She do the farming. And her grandma's the nicest old lady that ever did be. She's so nice.
And also an enabler, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. but like they're vibing. And then she's like, "Oh no, it's sad that your one cousin couldn't show up." And it's like, fair, the cousin's kind of old enough to be hanging out with friends like this. Oh, which means she has no friends. She has no one to interact with other than her dad and her grandma. Which, like, grandparents are cool and all. But but they're grandparents. You get a little bored of them sometime. And Kuro runs away because he doesn't set up the cage well enough. And oh no, that's bad. But who comes to save the day and finds Kuro? Well, none other than my boy Tayo, because he was playing Pokemon Go on his Nintendo DS.
Very funny.
They're playing Pokemon Go. I thought he was losing his DS. They perfectly set up that scene to have him, when he was holding it above his head, just drop it.
But
yeah,
then she can't
Tayo's
come
here.
over to play the DS.
Yeah, but so that now Tayo's here, which means good times. Now she happy. She has friends.
Grandma
And then they
knows
go
it.
off to hang out, just the two of them, and the dad is mortified at this idea. They are in 5th grade. It'll be okay, probably.
That as Grandma gives the smuggest fucking look of like, or they might do things.
Because it's very much the dad's not scared they're going to like get lost and get hurt. Because
He's
he
just
trusts
like,
the two of them, and
yeah.
he's like, oh
they're
no,
middle
boy
schoolers,
and
she might
girl.
have a boyfriend. Oh no.
He's like, my daughter's never had friends before, and now her first, well, my daughter's never showed me one of her friends before, and now the first friend I meet's a boy? Gasp. I'm a single father, what do I do?
Which is the question, because like, didn't she talk to him about the clothes she got from his sister?
I mean, she probably just said a friend's older sister lent the clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, true.
The show's established that she has like this fake cover story of, no, people like me, I have friends, I just don't do stuff at home with them. Like, she's never told her father anything about the bullying.
But then we learned the reason that she coming to visit her grandma is that this is where her family grave is, and she's going to visit the family grave because of her mother, who passed when she was very little. And this is fair. We hadn't seen her mother, and it very much makes sense. Yes, she could have passed. That's entirely a possible thing. And then she starts going on this little monologue about how a lot of people say it feels like she replaced her mother. Because she was born and then it was like very short after her mother died. And then Tayo, all the gears in his brain turning, connects the dots and goes, fuck, I am an asshole. Because he's been calling her the Grim Reaper, the thing that brings people to the land of the dead. And God, this fucking hit when you see this realization happen in this boy's brain.
He breaks, you break, I break, we all break.
We all break.
I break,
Episode
you
very
break,
good.
we all break. It was huge.
There's a-
revelation.
There's a couple of other things about it. So one, like we were talking about earlier, she expresses that she's not told anyone in her class about this, which means that the bullying being called the Grim Reaper is entirely coincidence. It's entirely the fact that she wears all black. It's just like a mean-spirited thing that happens to align with something that makes it seem a lot worse and maybe does impact her on that mental level being worse. But I like that it's the reason Tayo connects it. He's like, oh, that's really bad now that I know this fact. And the fact that they take the long walk home and she gets to enjoy the fireflies and has a good time, and Tayo is still completely silent the entire way, is very good. I'm excited to see what this show does with this. We talked a lot about this at the start of the episode when we said it was our favorite and the best of the week. Not just having time away from Tetsuo, I think, helps, but having time just with Akane. Her name's Akane, right? I'm not making that up in my brain.
I don't think so.
Okay. Just having time with her is great, because seeing her be in a place she enjoys is nice. It's wholesome. Yeah. Grandma best wingman. I'm
Grandma's goated.
very excited to see how the dynamic shifts. I'm very interested to see if Tayo's bad at keeping his mouth shut about this thing he's learned. Which maybe could change some of his classmates' point of view if he did share it. Because they may also realize, oh fuck. What a rude thing to say to a child, by the way. Feels like you replaced your mother. Because while that might be coming from a place of goodness as like you are just as much of a blessing as your mother was, oh boy, can that be misconstrued into ways.
Yeah.
Especially for a child.
This poor boy. He just want to be friend. He's just a good boy. And I do like I said, the scene of them like walking back, like, and her consoling him is really cute. And like my favorite part of this episode, like I said, is just like her interacting and just being like a happy child outside of school reminds me so much of how I was, where it's just like I was fine when I wasn't around peers because peers sucked.
Yeah.
In my elementary school.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Like, middle school, so it's like I didn't have friends, so I was just like when I'm at home and like doing my video games and stuff, great time.
Things got a
Fantastic
lot
time.
better for me middle school compared to elementary. Elementary was not a great time for me. And I very much lived a life where I had a best friend at home until they moved. So like there are parts of this that I really appreciate. I'm excited because I said it last week. I thought this was our show. I thought this was the show that like had the least to give out of our slices of lives. And I'm pleasantly surprised this week, excited to see where it goes. As someone who has not watched Grave of the Fireflies because I didn't want to experience pain, the line and realization from Tayo going, some people think fireflies are the spirits of the dead, made me go, I'm screaming.
Kura.
Kuro sitting on her head's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
That cat is wonderful.
Cat hat.
Yeah, I'm not a big cat guy. At least I could say that.
I don't know what's
Now I
wrong
own
with you,
two.
but
I technically own 2 now, so you know.
Mason doesn't count. He's only there temporarily.
I've adopted a girlfriend, and with that, I have adopted 2 cats.
I know what you're saying, but the fact that I said Mason doesn't count, and then you immediately followed with I adopted my girlfriend, really solidified that one.
Okay, listen. Okay, side tangent today. My girlfriend took a picture of me.
Other
with the cat
thoughts
on
about
bed
the show?
and posted it in the group. And then you have Mason and one of our other buddies going like, "Wow, cute picture." Also, the cat's there. It was funny.
Tired. Other thoughts about the show?
It was a good show. I thought it was a good time. Again, best episode of the week for most of us. Not all of us. So.
All of us.
Sorry, I'm just staring at the screenshot for Dead Mount Deathplay. Let's talk about Dead Mount Deathplay. I thought this was a really good week for this show. A lot more focus on both the darker side of the show and the humor meshing in a way that isn't uncomfortable or maybe like just odd or very sexual. We come back to the Special Investigation Unit, Crime Unit 3 or something. Where we have our 2 boys. They explain and fix the confusion from last week, which is they have closed many different cases that have all been people who have caused some very strange, occult, supernatural kind of set of crimes. And that the 2 that are open right now are Lemmings and Firefly, and now they've added the Grim Reaper. And they have identified a couple of things where they're like, the fire could have been from the Fireflies. And we found tracing of Lemmings at the crushed bodies. But it also does not feel like the 2 things those 2 do. And we do not have ways to explain the skeletons or the crushed bodies properly. They then go to investigate. To which our blonde guy, who is just a character from Get Backers, heads into the bar to try to talk to Clarissa to be like, hey, your people were snooping around. What do you know? I'm a cop. Please talk to me. Meanwhile, his buddy, whose name I don't remember, catches Polka and other girl, Misaki, thank you, in the alleyway. Before this important detail, Polka transfers the soul of original Polka into a toy shark. Adorable. What a good bit. Best character of the show. He then carries it in his hood, and it's very funny. Which also then leads us to have a really good bit where the one detective asks about where Polka was raised, and he goes, "My parents sold me," and you just see the shark go, "No, no, 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 no." We also then learn a really odd fact, which is or drone guy can talk through the drones, but only if the drones aren't moving. What a weird stipulation to establish for this show.
I mean, it's
I'm
probably
down.
It's probably just the fact that the speaker is drowned out by the sound.
Sound,
of the
yeah.
drone.
There's also the fact that like he could transfer the soul into something that could allow other Polka to speak, but he would need fresh vocal cords, and those aren't just lying around.
I mean, that's fair. They also talk about the source of magic, and where he can get some, and going, oh yeah, gems. I can get them from gems. I'll just go buy some, and then learns how expensive the real world is.
Mm-hmm.
Shame. We get some very good facial expressions from these two this episode. But Cop goes and grabs one of the drones and goes, hey, I know you. You're like the only person who flies drones in my city. Please fucking stop. That's a crime. But also then goes, hey, you two, stay out of this. I kind of just need to talk to this guy. And Polka goes, no, I don't like the way you refer to him. It reminds me of the Inquisition. Fuck off. To which he goes, who are you? And touches Polka and goes, you're kind of chilly. And Polka gives him the evil eye, both metaphorically and literally, and he backs him and goes, you're a strange kid. And then talks a little bit more about our drone boy, and it's like, did you know that he once sold out his entire gang just so he could save his own skin? And Polka goes, and? Meanwhile, Misaki gets a text and then sneaks up behind him and kicks him really hard to the wall and just shouts, he touched me inappropriately, as 4 drones are flying above them, and then they run away. This bit's so good. I love the idea of just, we're gonna set him up to be sexually assaulting a girl in an alleyway so that people so that they can use it as blackmail. He then returns to the office. Well, first Polka has a conversation with her drone man. I want to say his name's Tetsuo, but I don't think that's right.
That sounds right.
I thought it was Nomura.
It's something. But they didn't have this conversation where the drone guy's like, yeah, I did do that. Takumi?
Takumi.
Okay. Takumi's like,
he's crazy.
Yeah, I did do that, but I did do that. He wasn't lying about that. You should know that. And Polka goes, yeah, I don't care. People have sold me out my entire life. That doesn't really matter to me, and the way you might do things is nowhere near as bad as what I've been through. I make my own decisions how I feel about people. And then we come back to the agency for the detectives, where a detective who got kicked in the chest walks in, and goes, hey, person who works with me, know anything about this footprint? I adore her. I love her as a character already, and I've had her for literally 2 scenes.
I love sexy police officer who doesn't wear an undershirt for some reason.
I really like her design. Her design's really cool. I hope she gets more screen time. She seems like a neat character. She instantly goes, actually, no, I do recognize that footprint. It was at the scene with the Lemmings footprint. We should look into that. Also, please put your shirt back on. You're scaring our coworkers because he has a Yakuza tattoo down his back of a tiger, and it's dope. But also, they don't show half his back. They make that point really obvious that they can't get his shirt off the other half, which is really neat. We then get like a little bit of background about how these guys are the only people who can catch the occult. And then we cut forward to the bar where our other detective is drinking heavily, still trying to get information out while also telling stories, and the girls who work at the bar are humoring him. He then tries to Clarissa squeal a little bit, and everyone's just like, man, it's a good thing Polka and Misaki aren't here. We need them to be careful around these guys. And then they walk in.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, Polka and Misaki.
How you guys doing? At which point, at the exact same time, the detective gets a text where it's like, hey, here's a description of the people I suspect. One of them's wearing a sailor uniform. He goes, oh shit, here they are. Hey, you two, come drink with me. Well, first he goes, you two are too young to be in a bar. At which point Misaki goes, I'm gonna order milk. And then his response is, man, kids sure like to live expensively these days, which I have to imagine is more about them being in a bar than them ordering milk. He then invites them order, and he then invites them order, and Misaki tells this weird fucking story while Polka drinks juice for the first time in his life and has like a moment of
An out-of-body
divine
experience.
revelation. Yeah. And then the other detective shows up, and they get ready to have confrontation when suddenly the lights go out. And the detectives are like, "Okay, Clarissa, what's this about?" And she goes, "That ain't us. Give me a second. I'm gonna light this match and then drop it into this alcohol to cause some light to happen." Meanwhile, Polka activates X-ray vision and holds his hand out to Misaki, who goes, "Ooh, hand." And then we notice that Lemmings is hanging from the ceiling. Man, he's dope.
Yeah.
The amount of dope energy all the new characters we get to experience this week exude is immense. Part of me feels like this show's gonna be really rad.
You got the crazy guy and the not crazy cop, but also probably kind of crazy cop to be in this industry.
Yeah. I do like the part where he's like,
From the guy who made Rara.
I'm not gonna tell anybody about the fact that the Lemmings took down like an entire squadron of my dudes once. That's not really a thing I like to mention, but he's very dangerous. The last thing I'll say, this is from earlier in the episode, but I forgot to mention it. While Tatsumi's having the conversation with Polka, Tatsumi's like, yeah, but don't you like hate all people who like well, no, they're talking about the police, and Polka's like, yeah, I don't like people who try to exert their authority and tell people what to do and like sort out and snuff out the people they think are lesser. And Tatsumi's like, didn't you say that existed in your previous life? And Polka's like, yeah, but there are some people who are actually good amongst those group. And you get the small little screenshot of the hero. I'm glad we're not dropping that plot point entirely. I'm interested in what way it's going to work its way back in if it does. I really like this episode. I think it does wonders for the show and really has my attention. It could easily dip down and get moved below a lot of other shows for me. But this was a great performance for it this week.
What do you guys think about it?
I enjoyed it
Yeah,
though.
good episode.
In talking about it, it always seems better than when I'm putting it on my power ranking. But also, like, it I need more of it.
I get it. I'm very sold on this show because there's something about it that fires neurons in my brain that are probably unique to me in this particular instance. But I'm like, yes, no, this is my kind of bullshit I very much like. Keep going.
It's a show where it's like, you know, I'm not fully sold on it, but it's doing things, so I'm interested.
Yeah. Like, it's in the middle of the pack.
Stuff is at least happening, which is what you need at this point, you know.
Michael?
The show's just it's a good fun time. It's enjoyable. I don't know. Not a ton to say about it. I just really like the characters. I think that there's some really fun stuff. These antags are super neat. The two detective guys. Lemmings is the way they introduce Lemmings is cool as fuck.
They do the little shot where he's clearly on one of Tatsumi's cameras while he's looking away. He's just hanging off a building and he just disappears. He's very rad. He has very big like Venom energy, Venom energy where he's just like, oh, he's here and a problem.
Mm-hmm. It's like you know he's about to fuck some shit up, but like, and everyone knows he's about to fuck some shit up, but he just chooses not to. He's like, I need a little more juice. Both literally and figuratively. Also, the creepy souls that always appear around people like this is really interesting. I'm excited to see how many souls are haunting our main like antagonist, I guess.
I'm excited for Lemmings to be the hero.
I mean, I'm interested to see what he wants. Characters like this are very interesting. They also do a shot that has me a little worried that it's too on the nose, but they do a shot where they talk about Lemmings and then there's a poster of an idol right behind Lemmings.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
too.
I'm really hoping it's not just that's who he is.
I thought we saw there was one other person they talked about who was an idol, I thought. Or maybe I'm just like projecting.
I mean, they had a lot of criminals they ran through, which the only thing I could think of when they did that was It Invaded, and Michael knows how much I love that show. So
We have
Main-
the arm twister.
The arm
and
twister.
Absolutely, Lemmings is the hero reincarnated. There's no way it's not.
But it feels like he's been around too long. That, like, I get that reincarnation's finicky and technically that could work.
He just appeared 20 years early. Because he didn't know where
True.
he went to.
That's true.
That'd be
Or
interesting.
he could have been around for even longer. We don't know.
I'm interested.
We'll have to find out.
Let's talk about it. It's consistently at one point in everybody else's power ranking, and John has a little higher to no one's surprise. Talk about your show, Yamada-Kun.
Okay, so Yamada-Kun, we have our fan meet where the confusion is finally settled. Where they're like, perhaps we should introduce ourselves. I'm actually Ruby-Hime, says the guy who was friends with her at the start, and she has this thing where it's like Nakama means a person who poses as a woman online who is actually a man. And he's like, no, don't confuse that. I'm not a Nakama. That's not me. Me and Ruby-Hime are not the same person, but also the same person, which means he's a Nakama, but worse. He's a role player. And he based the entire character off of his little sister, who's the little child of Runa that we meet as well, who really does not like Akane because she clearly likes Yamada. So we have this awkward lunch period where like she ends up dropping the glass and stuff, and like he ends up leaving because he's like, I need to give her space because she probably hates me and she's actually just like very depressed about the situation. And they talk and stuff and like general clan stuff, explain stuff. Our boys go outside and Yamada gets a nice talking to from Eita. It's like, hey, I thought you never lied. He's like, I was getting the death eyes. I thought I needed to leave. He's like, you don't understand women. It's okay. But then they end up leaving their fan meetup. Obviously, Yamada or Akane and Yamada walk home together. They have a train ride where she keeps trying to strike up conversation. He's very bad at it because he cannot. He's a neat. And then they walk on the way home, and she goes, "Wait, I have an idea," and then runs home and quickly gets some Tupperware out and puts like some curry in it because he doesn't cook on his own. Says, here is like a week's worth of food for you since you don't eat on your own. Take this and this and this bag. End of story. It doesn't offer. She's like, take this. She's like that grandma who makes you eat too much. And then she gets a call from Runa, who gets her number from Eita. It's like, hey, we should hang out sometime. I actually want to have like a female friend in this group, please. Sorry for how I acted. And then Yamada just goes home confused and conflicted. But Akane makes some new friends offline. And has conflicting feelings about Yamada. And that's kind of a quick summary of what happened in this episode.
Well, don't forget as well, Yamada sees that at the very end, when Akane mentions that Runa wants to hang out the following Saturday, he's supposed to be tutoring Runa at the same time.
So the question is like, what is the... there's some ulterior motive behind it probably, but
it certainly feels the way of she is setting up for this to hurt her.
And then we afterwards have this little like side story where it's like Eita showing off Ruby-Hime's different outfits and the sister's going, that's gross.
I like Eita conceptually. Boy, in execution this episode am I not the biggest fan. I need more in his character. I'm really liking Yamada as a character, which is not what I expected to get out of this episode in particular.
For a very plain protagonist, he actually has like a very wide range of like...
A lot of my feelings about... wow, I'm blanking on her name.
Akane.
On Akane. I actually really like this episode because she acts in a way that makes sense to me, that I feel like shows how like her maturity comparatively. One, like when the table dismisses a bit and Eita and Yamada leave, she tries to like have conversation and like she is acting very mature rationally after something that was a little irrational. She also then runs to get Yamada food, knowing that he doesn't eat a healthy life, doesn't eat and like live a healthy life in that regard, and it feels very motherly in a way where it's like, you are young, you don't get it. I have leftover. Let me care for you. I must protect. I really like that. It shows an element of maturity to the character that I think desperately was needed. Instead of making her seem completely inept, which is kind of how I felt after going through the first 3 episodes.
She does relatively have her life put together outside of the whole relationship thing. To be fair.
Yeah, but I think my big problem was that was such a focus of the 3 episodes that like I think it
Mhm.
overshadowed a lot of it, and they really had her for the most part depending on her friendship, as opposed to like being able to stand alone. Whereas I think it really comes across a lot better that she is independent and like a functioning person. This episode. I'm not sure how I feel about any of the relationships right now. Again, like I said, I'm not really a fan of Akane and Yamada getting together, like, as a real relationship. It's uncomfortable, for me.
Yeah, unless we have like a notable time skip, it is kind of weird that she's out of college and he's
Is
in
she
high
out of
school.
college?
No,
or
she's in college, because she went to that
Oh,
one
yeah.
lecture where she got hit on
Oh,
still,
yeah.
so she's still a student.
But I'm pretty sure she's like pretty late college from what we've seen.
I don't think she's fresh
it's
in the
like
college.
college
I don't know.
so
It,
it's
it
hard to
certainly
say.
felt like she's pretty been there with college. But again, I also don't know how Japanese college works.
We know Yamada's 19, and and
No, he's
17.
17.
No, he's 17. He's in high
I think
school.
she's 19 or
Right,
20.
right.
Well, she can drink, so we know she's at least, what, 20?
yeah, drinking age is 20 in Japan.
So, there you go.
I guess
That's probably what it is.
my brain hears drinking and immediately thinks 21. I think
It's
that's why I also
yeah,
thought
it's
she was
different.
older.
It's different though. But I mean, still 20 to 17 at like the level of maturity from end of high school to at least college student is significant. I also
Yeah,
don't
it's
really
certainly a thing where
know.
we need a time skip for it to not feel weird.
I also don't really know how I feel about Vuri and Yamada. It's
Mhm.
also weird. Last thing I'll say, to the show's credit, I'm really interested in the little flash Yamada gets when Ada's like, "You don't get women," and they showed the girl crying, and we don't get all the dialogue of their conversation. That clearly Yamada had an interaction that he didn't understand, but definitely realized wasn't good, and probably pushed him away from women. Really interested in that. I think if this show goes in the direction of you teach me how to play the game and be someone who I can get over my ex with without having anything actually happen, and I'll teach you how to understand women, would be a great plot to this show. I hope it goes that direction. Still very much middle of the pack for me, outside of this.
That's fair. I definitely think I overput this show this week, but that's okay.
I will say somebody hasn't voted yet.
I'm working on it.
And, let's just say I very much need you to vote.
I'm working on it. I'm clicking buttons. Hmm? 3 things to hide?
Mason's so far back and so whispery that I couldn't actually hear anything he said to you. So I just see.
That's okay. I also didn't understand what he said to me, so we're in the same boat.
The difference is you were supposed to.
It's fine.
Supposed to what?
I don't know.
What?
Understand him.
We're very tired.
Oh, I can tell.
I'm very tired. What is that video from? I'm very tired. You know what I'm talking about, right?
It's
This is the John Mulaney bit.
No, it's Mark Zuckerberg
Oh.
from Game Grumps.
Oh, I was thinking of the John Mulaney bit where he's like, "I am a child and I am very tired."
No, it's the
My frame.
fucking goddamn Rowan
I sent it.
Winklevoss.
Oh shit!
I'm very
Oh
tired.
shit!
I'm very tired.
Ladies and gentlemen, the results are in. We'll get a
Results are
rundown.
in.
We're
John,
gonna
you need to
run.
pull something up.
We're gonna run down all the saves. Hey, Michael, you want to pull it up while I run through this?
Oh, the wheel? I can do that.
'Cause I
I'm-
assume
I'm
we'll
not
need
the
it.
wheel person.
We're gonna need the wheel.
I would normally have Mason do it, but
I got you.
no, I would
Yeah, that's
rather
what I
I would rather Michael do it.
Okay.
Okay.
just because, But full saves: Hell's Paradise, Heavenly Delusion, Mashle, Skip and Loafer, Insomniacs, Clueless, Deathmount, Yamada-Kun. Holy shit, I didn't think it was that regard. Blue Orchestra, My Home Hero, and Marginal Service all have 3 slays. I'm impressed My Home does. I thought we were all kind of on board with it going further, but
I
My
like
thing-
drama.
So
I know
my
who
thing
didn't vote. I know who didn't vote Marginal, and I also know who didn't vote Blue Orchestra and My Home Hero because they're me.
Me and Michael like chaos.
Okay, I don't understand why you like Marginal Service less than those 2 shows. I legitimately don't understand.
Because I really do want the next episode of those 2, and I do not care for Marginals. That is all it is. Let me.
Okay, so we have Marginal.
Well, this is the new wheel.
Yes, yeah, I had to find a new wheel. Always.
I like ZSX.
I love that it's become a Mega Man game.
Oh my, it's not letting me
Yeah,
use
so those are the dudes.
backspace.
He's cool.
Okay, so I'm
Highlight,
finding a
delete.
new wheel.
Nice. Oh no.
God.
I don't
What
like
is
this.
Go
So,
premium.
so I'm going back to this
Wheel of Okay. Oh man,
Oh,
I
you can
love
see
your
last
Deco
time
and
I
Biscuit.
did- See, the last time I did a wheel.
He'll get there.
Marginal Service.
I would really like it.
What the fuck are
to
the
not
other
win
2
the
shows
Marginal
called? I'm
Service,
tired.
So I could not
Blue
have
Orchestra.
2 shows voted off back.
So guys, as a unity, how are we doing this one?
Oh, the one
Is
it
it-
lands on goes. That's always how it's gone,
Mm,
right?
Okay.
I thought
I think so.
thing it lands on gets slayed.
okay.
I think we're consistent with that.
I think so, but I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Okay, before Michael spends it, are we fine with that? I
That's
want everyone to
fine.
be
Sure,
fine
yeah,
with
I
this.
don't care. We'll do whatever. I need to go to sleep.
I'm resigned to getting hated off of this podcast.
You'll
Mason,
be
you have no
fine. Your
chaos. You're gonna
other
be in the
show,
finals.
your
It's
other
fine.
show is Hell's Paradise.
I know.
Also,
I am seeing 2 seasons ago flash before my eyes, and where I had the #1 show all season, and then y'all fuckers put it at 3,
look,
You're talking
man.
about
where Bochi won and Chainsaw Man was at 1 for everyone in the entire season.
it was 2 of them.
And
Except when it was #1 for the entire season for me.
Yeah.
Because Bochi the GOAT.
I'm
Spin
just
the
seeing-
wheel!
I'm seeing a flashback happen, and it's happening again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Insomniacs isn't gonna win.
Fine.
It's fine.
Thank God.
Michael's show is going.
Cool. Well, now I can go read more Blue Orchestra.
Immediately put the orchestra the
Hey,
manga.
Michael, can you do me a favor and drop the stream?
I respect
We
the
do
hustle,
quick
Michael.
have one
I
last
opened it
thing.
earlier in the stream just to see what it looked like. And yeah, boy, it's infinitely more expressive than the anime is. It's crazy.
We do
That's
have
sad.
we do have one last thing.
We do.
We do. I have with me
My kind of reactions.
the updated average power ranking. To which something very interesting happened. John, you maybe have uttered something that you shouldn't have a couple of minutes ago.
Which is what?
That there's no way Insomniacs will win the season.
Yeah, no way. There's no way.
There's no way the thing's sitting in 2 people. I'm pretty sure the 2 people's #1 currently.
And is
No,
also
no
currently
way.
on average tied for first place.
There's no way one of my shows wins this season. I guarantee it. Because
Mason-
Hell's Paradise gonna do some crazy fucking shit, and y'all gonna pop off about it, and it's gonna win. I guarantee it. I got the force.
Hey, but also
I'll
hear
bet
me
the
out.
top 3.
This is-
I mean, I got your back. Hell's Paradise 8 is gonna do some wild shit to break past #3.
Hey, by the way, hear me out, Mason. I'm gonna be more upset than you are if Hell's Paradise loses to Insomniacs.
No, you're not.
I mean, he is. It is the lowest rated show.
I
I
am the one who doesn't like Insomniacs as much as I like Hell's
Sean,
Paradise.
That's because
Sean,
Hell's
I'd
Paradise is
like
gonna
to
lose to
refer
Skip
to
and
you.
Loafer.
My extremely high competitive spirit.
Mason, I haven't won a season in so long that I
There's
am
only
willing
one
to
in this
commit
season.
crimes to do so.
I'm just saying, like,
Sean.
the amount of crowns in this room right here, in this one frame,
Yeah, right?
is more than the two above us. Yeah, true. Let's go.
Yeah,
I
true,
want you to
about,
consider
like,
that
one-
I feel like I have constantly had wins swept out under my feet on the picking order, but
Hi, Sean.
also
I'd like to
feel
refer to you-
myself willed to pick the shows I do because no one else will.
Well, Sean, I guess you should have picked Skate, because clearly it's better than Horimiya.
You didn't let me finish my point, which was, thus I have been reduced to making sure no one is happy with the results of our podcast by making the number 3 show tie and just work its way up to number 1. That's right, baby. I'm talking about Skate's tie. I'm talking about Sherlock's tie. I'm talking about Sherlock taking first, Skate taking first. I'm talking about Sasaki Tobiyano taking first. I'm talking about Bochi the Rock taking first. I am here to cause conflict.
Akadama tying for first.
Huh?
Talk about Akadama tying.
Well, that's an actual tie, and I mean, it'd be weird if I was mad about that. That was my show.
I still think that one should have won.
Akadama?
Over, like, JJK season 1?
Okay, we're not gonna get into this because
Actually, no, maybe
that
true.
Akadama was better than JJK first half.
I just didn't think the end of Akadama was that good, but that was just me.
I'm
the
being
only one who didn't like
gaslit
that much.
on my own podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't get into it too much because I want my co-hosts to go to bed, but I want you all to know that in the last 2 weeks of Akadama, Michael slightly had my back, but I was the only person going to argue that Akudamo is better than JJK still. There is a reason that show tied.
Yes, because it was at 2 number 1s and then
Well-
2 number 2s, I'm pretty sure.
Well, yes, Michael, but... Well, no. Don't forget, that season we had a top 4, which is how that tie managed to work its way.
Oh yeah, because Taiso was there.
It was Taiso,
Vibin.
Akudama, JJK, and that's right, baby. Wait, was it 4? My brain wanted to say that Kimono Jihin was that season and it was 4.
No.
I think it was.
Kimono was just
Yeah.
a straight number 4 across the group. or
Yes.
something.
But we had 4 that season, which means that stuff could get... Either way, ladies
I
and
don't know, I think
gentlemen,
Kimono team maybe something different.
Ladies and
Kimono
gentlemen.
bullshit.
we are going to call it for the night.
I don't know. The blue is like.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it for the night. Thanks for joining us. Next week will not be so late. Also, I don't think we'll have Michael.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
And we might not even have Michael's thoughts or rankings or anything
No,
like that.
there's zero way I'm watching these shows. I will be in
Family
another
podcast,
country
we might only
without
just be a
Wi-Fi.
Mason and Sean podcast next week because
Why?
I have a con on Thursday.
We could delay, but then we delay into other people not being here.
Do we?
Maybe.
I'm not gonna. I'm not
You're
gonna
missing the
be
week
here.
after?
No, it's not. I'm not missing the week after. I'm missing the following. So I'm missing 3 weeks from now. I believe.
So we will talk about it later, but we could postpone,
figure it
do a double elim, do a double elim, which is
All I know is that I'm missing I would miss the next 2.
ooh,
Next
At
two?
least. I'm not back until
he's
the
not
29th.
he's not gonna be, and he's not gonna be able. You have so much to catch up on, Michael. I have no idea how you're going. You're probably gonna have to start
Oh.
watching stuff soon.
Oh, so Michael's missing the next 2 weeks, so we could do one next week, and then the week after Mason would be gone.
Yeah, I'll watch. I don't have like anything to
No,
do
the
over the
week after
summer.
that,
I
the
will
week after
just
I'm
watch
going the
it.
First week of.
You're
I
gone
have
the
all
week
the free time in the world.
Oh.
I watched this
after.
entire
As long as
set
you were fine to do it.
across 2 mornings.
I think as long as
Yeah.
we're 3 people, we can figure it out. but,
Essentially,
like,
But yeah, we will sort things out. You know how I will say this as podcast host, the only thing I'm ever worried about is people not being on an episode and their show going, because I understand how that feels.
oh, it's fine. Blue Orchestra's gone, and I think the other 2 could stay for a little bit. And I don't care if you guys vote off my happy little fun time show. I understand it's probably going. I think it'd be whack if Heavenly Delusion does some bullshit, then Heavenly Delusion does some bullshit. But I trust you guys to not do dumb bullshit.
Yeah, I trusted
Most
you
of the
guys.
time.
I trusted you guys too, and look where that got me. Robbed of a
True.
season. I argue.
Robbed of at least like a second place. But yeah.
But
That is still the worst decision I think we've made on this podcast. It's up there.
It's up there with voting Izukin off.
I didn't vote. Yeah.
Well, neither did I, but we are a collective.
Yeah.
Equally up there with getting Tommy on the podcast and doing a second podcast group. Those are also horrible errors I've
Mhm.
made.
But yeah.
But again, everybody, have a good night. I'm gonna let my co-host go to sleep. I'm the only one who's still functioning, it appears.
No, I'm functioning.
But you have to go to bed. You have an exam.
Yes.